the meeting, we do move quickly, so make sure you've got a copy of the agenda there in front of you to follow along. In each case, what I'll do is I'll read off the case number and I'll ask if there's any opposition here. If you're here and you wish to speak in regards to that case, make sure you raise your hand so that I can see you. And that way we'll make sure we slow the meeting down and give you an opportunity to speak. If we do, what we'll do is we'll first hear from staff. Staff will give the presentation that we've received in advance of today's meeting, and then we'll hear first from the applicant. After we hear from the applicant, if you're here in opposition, please do get out of your chair, come up and line up on this side of the room, the right side of the room over here. It's helpful for me if you're actually lined up down this wall, if there's a number of you that want to speak in opposition, because the total time allotted for opposition is 9 minutes. And from time to time, we have somebody that's a little long-winded, and I need to make sure to interrupt them, which is just so that everybody else can have the opportunity to speak. So keep your comments to the point. It's also helpful if you're hearing other folks that are here in opposition speak, that you're not telling us the same thing over and over again. From time to time, we'll have somebody get up and they'll talk to us for 2 or 3 minutes about traffic, and the second person will get up and talk to us about the exact same thing for 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll just fill the full 9 minutes and only have heard about one of maybe many issues that we need to be giving consideration to. After we hear from opposition will take their seat, and we'll have the applicant come back up for 2 minutes to respond to what they've heard from opposition. All the conversation that takes place today will be between the folks on the dais here and the person at the podium. So make sure to address your questions or comments to Planning Commission. And, and then also make sure that when you're up at the mic, you see this red light, this should be on. State your name and address for the record. Brian, is there any changes to our agenda that I need to be aware of?
We do have one. I just found these out a few minutes ago. Under subdivision, under old business, SDP 2515, it's a preliminary plat for Riverton North. They wish to withdraw that application.
What was that case number again?
Sorry, it's number 3. It's SDP 2515, Riverton North. It's item number 3 under old business under plats.
Okay. That's being withdrawn?
They won't withdraw that.
Okay.
And then under old business under zoning, item number 3 as well, case 2025-0089, 2025-0072 for Derek Martin, Pinewood Drive. They want to withdraw that.
Okay. So what that means, if you're here in regards to either one of those cases, they're not going to be heard today. So you're welcome to stick around and hang out with us for the afternoon. But if you're here in regards to those cases, we're not going to hear them. Anything else?
The only thing it was my error on one of the subdivision plats. It's 25, it's HCSD 2533. In the packet on the staff report, it says defer. On the agenda, I have approved with conditions. It should be a deferral, even though it says approved with conditions on your agenda.
It's item 3.
It's under 3, yes.
It's already deferred, they're requesting?
No, staff's recommended to defer. The agenda says approved with conditions.
Okay. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. All right, the first case under old business, item 1 on our agenda is HCSD-25-14. It's a final plat for the sanctuary at Signal Forest Subdivision Phase 2, lots 9 through 18, 35 through 39, and 52. Staff is recommended to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? Any questions? We have a motion to approve the staff recommendation. And it has been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next case on the agenda is HCSD-25-18. And this is final plat for Flipper Bend Subdivision Phase 4, lots 137 through 151. located at 0 Roberts Mill Road. Staff is recommended to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? Any questions? We have a motion to approve staff recommendation. It has been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next case on our agenda is HCSD 25-24. This is preliminary plat for Dallas Station subdivision, lot 1 through 54 and community lots 900 and 902. It's located at 7618 Middle Valley Road, and staff is recommended to defer. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? Yeah, how long is the deferral?
Will have to be 30 days
30 days.
to August. Then August, this body will have to take action on it. We're waiting on approval from FEMA on the proposed construction entrance in the floodway.
We have a motion to defer for 30 days, and it has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. First item under new business is HCSD 25-30. It's a minor plat. North Valley Trail 2 subdivision, lots 1, 6 through 9, located at 9536 North Valley Trail. Staff is recommended to approve. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present?
Second.
We have a motion to approve, and it has been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next case on the agenda is HCSD 25-31. This is preliminary and final plat for Baker Road potential subdivision, Riverstone Development, lots 1 through 17, located at 14641 Baker Road. Staff is recommended to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? Any questions? What's the will of the commission?
Second.
We have a motion to approve with conditions, and it has been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Who's keeping minutes today? Okay.
We got it down here. This is Commissioner Adamson.
Next case, it's HCSD 25-33. This is a final plat for Nature Cove subdivision, lots 1 through 11, 48 through 69, 101 through 131, and 207. And 202, I'm not going to read off the rest of those. Staff is recommended to defer. Is there any opposition present? And I'm assuming you're the applicant. Your mic needs to be on. Can you, there you go.
Yes, sir. Mike Price, MAP Engineers. Our understanding in conversations with Autumn, who oversees the stormwater program, is that we would do an as-built at the appropriate time as it relates to the pipe that was installed in the floodway, but there is no FEMA letter of approval. There is simply a certification, as the engineers say, that the ground elevations remain unchanged as a result of the work. And that was a conversation we had as of Thursday. So she was fine with it moving forward as of that conversation of that date.
Was that the only reason for the deferral, Brian?
That was the only reason for deferral, but I think we got that from building inspections, the floodplain coordinator.
Okay.
There is no, again, there is no letter from FEMA. They don't issue letters for this. It's up to the county to certify that the elevations, based upon the engineer that provides them, that there are no changes.
One thing, the plat would not be able to be signed if that indeed is true. Nobody in this county would sign the plat until that was certified
Sure.
as well.
We understand that. It's just, this is the first step, and then we will provide that it's approving with conditions, and we understand that conditions.
Any questions for the applicant? Do you want to speak in regards to this case?
Only if it's not deferred. If it's going to be deferred, no, I do not.
Well, let's hear what you've got.
I'm Gary Bowles, 5812 Mountain Pass Drive in Ottawa. I'm here today not to urge you to deny the final plat. That's not the purpose. It's to voice our concerns with this development so as to minimize its negative effects on the current and future residents of Bell Mill Road, Mountain Pass, and the Nature's Cove subdivision, and the traffic in the immediate area, including the Bell Mill Hunter Road intersection. The excavation of the many acres that were required to fill in the 20 some odd acres of floodplain, as well as general landscaping, has been going on for over a year. The dust from this has been a constant annoyance. Spring rains revealed flaws in the detention pond in the northwest corner of the property near the intersection of Bell Mill and Mountain Pass that have resulted in rework. And Brian could show you that. It appears to still be in the process of construction and rework. Some drainage issues, such as failures of filter bags along the excavation site, caused quite a muddy mess on Bell Mill Road. The county even had to make road repairs in the area. I wondered why this pond is not shown in the Phase 1 plat. I realize the houses aren't there, but it does affect that whole area, and that was a concern of mine. I urge the various governmental entities to rigorously perform inspections and ensure that the developer is proceeding in accordance with regulations. I especially am concerned with potential flooding that might occur. It's not likely to affect my property directly because I'm in a higher place, but I am concerned about the people that purchase homes in this subdivision and all who drive on Bell Mill Road. Lastly, county officials state they've been pursuing correction of the obtuse intersection at Bell Mill and Hunter Road. I have contacted appropriate officials to get updates. Last I heard from them, they're still trying to contact the owner of the affected property to obtain ownership of that land to correct it. We'd like regular updates on these actions and a timeline for this work. In my opinion, it's just a matter of time before a large vehicle involved in this work are to turn over at this intersection or be involved in an accident with nearby residents or services. I'm pleased this is a phased development, especially considered no houses are being built in Phase 1 adjacent to my property. I hope some vegetation will grow to keep the dust down. Could the developer give an approximate timeline for the other phases? Note that a billboard was installed around April for the other April of this year, advertising the subdivision, complete with a QR code. And if you scan the QR code, you'll find it goes nowhere except to the generic green text site. It has nothing about the subdivision. It just says Nature's Cove is coming soon. Well, we've known that for a while. We were interested to know what kind of houses were built in the subdivision. Green Tech reached out to me this morning, and I do have a better idea of that. At the risk of being a broken record, I still think that the use of gross acreage to calculate density needs to be revised, but that's being pursued in the Plan Hamilton efforts. This development exposes this problem in a big way. Thank you for your attention.
I heard a lot of discussion, but none of the points as it relates to the specific item that staff and I are discussing as it relates to the FEMA issue. So again, given that we had that conversation with Autumn, we would ask that it move forward with approval with that condition.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would just say that from staff's perspective, I think we've got other ways that we can address the FEMA concerns later on down the road. So I'm comfortable making a motion to approve the conditions.
Thank you. We've got a motion to approve. And it has been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion
Chairman,
carries.
I recuse.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Next case on our
Thank you.
agenda is HCSD-25-34. This is preliminary plat for the Preserve at Mountain View subdivision, lots 1 through 99, located at 8610 Prophet Lane, and staff is recommended to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present? And is the applicant present? Okay, thank you. Mr. Schultz.
Yeah, this is the Preserve at Mountain View subdivision, lots 1 through 99. Staff recommendation was to approve. This plat was submitted with all corrections needed to be shown in the plat. We do have some additional things that need to be corrected, which is typical in the plat. And I'll go through a lot of this. I think opposition is going to be focused on this lot to the north. This is part of the Sweetbriar Cove subdivision, if you will. And these two red circles here, that's Prophet Lane. This developer of this subdivision is coming out on Profit Lane, which now is a flag lot, but that will be widened and dedicated as a county public street when the developer gets through with that. So I'll go through this. Here's another view of what that looks like on the plat. Just another view. There's a huge floodway associated with this property. So I'll get to here. So this is the site in question, and it was rezoned back in 2001 with conditions. Those conditions applied to this property, which is Sweetbriar to the left, which has been developed. But the condition was no more than one curb cut on the Snow Hill Road. It talked about overall 274 lots in this development, everything in the red, plus the stuff to the left that's already been developed. Here's a view of that floodway that's on the property. The property being developed sits right here. To the left, those platted lots, that's Sweetbriar Cove, and you can see the floodplain and floodway that divides this property. The property to the north was rezoned in 2022 with condition of 83 lots. That condition came from staff. We used that number of lots based on the site plan that was submitted with the request at that time, with this being a flag lot out to Mountain View. So this is the property to the north that has a condition of no more than 83 lots. It's not being developed today, but the road, this one to the south, will be coming through that property that has the conditions on it. This is the plat that was submitted way back when Sweetbriar Cove was being developed. You can see Sweetbriar Cove to the left, and here's the other two phases. This bottom is Mountain View Estates, which has already been approved. That access is coming off Transport Lane. The property in question today is to the north, and it has this cul-de-sac or these little loop roads that come down through the green area, crossing a floodway to come out Transport Lane. I imagine since that floodway is there, it's going to be difficult to put in a crossing. That's why the developer now is coming out a Profit Lane. Here's another view. This is the second phase of Sweetbriar Cove. You can see there never was a connection from the eastern side to the western side. It looks like one is here, but that's a sewer easement. So these two developments never connected to the one on the left of the floodway. Here's another view showing that same property. Here's Mountain View Estates, which is to the south, which again has already been approved as a final plat. You can see this is where, into this cul-de-sac here is where this road would continue on through, connecting to the phases in front of you today. It's all coming out Transport Lane, but that floodway hampers what you can do. So that's sort of the history of this site. Again, this site to the north, which does have a condition of 83 units, is not held to those conditions because what's being developed is to the south. Again, that condition of 83 units was not tied to any traffic impact study. When we did this zoning report, we did a traffic analysis through RPA, just briefly big picture overview of how much traffic could be expected to come out this development. It wasn't a traffic engineering analysis. So when this all gets developed, a traffic engineer report will be required. So the question would be, I guess, from the opposition is, why is this plat being approved when it says condition of 83 lots? Well, 83 lots is not on this property. It's to the north. And this condition doesn't say anything about limiting access from the one to the south.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Schultz? All right, and we'll hear from the applicant first. I saw the applicant was here. Do you want to speak first? Okay, thank you.
Was it the site on the bottom there? Is it already come out on transport? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, this site right here in the green where the little red circle is, Transport Lane comes out here, and there's a huge floodway that comes here that separates.
Okay, I got it.
Or floodplain, floodways. It's both. I go back to the map. Here's this green area, which is A1. That's already been platted and approved as the final plat, and the connection was through here. You can see it. The lighter blue is the floodway.
Yes, ma'am.
Kim Helton, 8618 Snow Hill Road. The condition stated that development would be limited to 83 lots. Development would include the entire property. It's basically just a driveway. Profit Lane is a private lane, but it's basically just a driveway. And that driveway is part of 8610 Profit Lane. So when the condition was placed on that, It was placed not only by the planning commission, but the county commission. Having 97 more homes coming through there more than doubles the condition that was placed on that property. And that would be taken into consideration when being approved by the planning commission or the county commission. Since that wasn't taken into condition when this, into consideration when this condition was placed on the property, it should go back through the rezoning process and allow the planning commission, the county commission to review this, where all of this traffic will be coming down Prophet Lane near other people's homes and property. And we believe a traffic study should definitely be conducted. This is a very dangerous part of Mountain View Road, and it might require a right turn lane. That's something that needs to be considered as well. That should maybe be a condition for rezoning. So we think this needs to go back through the rezoning process. Thank you.
Karen Eves, 7003 Mountain View Road. I've lived at my property for the past 44 years. We built our home the same summer that Mountain View Road was constructed. So I have had personal witness of all the accidents, several of them being fatal, that have happened on Mountain View Road. I know statistics are one thing, but when you are visually there on the road holding towels to a child's head who has just been thrown through a door, it's different. Currently, my flag lot is entered by a gravel drive that abuts Mountain View Road. It runs parallel and adjacent to the driveway that enters the Prophet's residence. They have sold their property to be developed into this 83-home subdivision. So instead of 3 cars passing my front door every single day, your decision affects whether thousands go past my front door. Now, I know that I'm just one person, and this is just one situation, but this is reflective of the changes that have happened over the past several years to our community. We have the entire integrity of Ooltewah has changed. Many decisions have been very positive, and construction has gone well, but some things are not. And there comes a point in time where there's insult upon injury. And I think that's about where we are. We can't adequately meet the needs of the current residents that we have, much less the thousands of homes that you've already approved for our community. And yet there's even more in the works. And so I'm just here as a physical reminder that people's lives are affected dramatically by your decisions. And I encourage you to think long and hard about how you build roads, connect roads, maintain roads, because lives are at stake. Thank you very much.
In regards to case HCSD-25-34, what's the will of the commission?
Chairman, I have a
Yes.
question for staff. We were handed this resolution and it seems ambiguous to me as to what development it's talking about. So I guess I'm trying to understand how we know that it wasn't put on the entire rezoning and it was just for that first phase over off of Snow Hill.
What resolution do you have? I don't know what.
622-34B, you can have this copy.
Yes, I've got it here. It's on the screen. That resolution with the red arrow is for this flag lot off Prophet Lane. The red box is what's before you today being developed. That condition says development not to exceed 83 single-family detached residential lots. That applied to 8610 Prophet Lane, which is this lot to the north, which is not being developed today, but it will be in the future. This site in the red box is being developed with no condition. It has conditions, but not to 83. The only difference is they're coming out on this Prophet Lane.
So the property to the south was was it not originally part of all one piece of property? It was actually addressed
Nope.
as a different piece of property?
Yes, that was all this big property that went over to Snow Hill Road.
Okay.
Go back here. May have all this R1 property you see here, that was all one big lot. That was rezoned back in 2001. The property that the opposition is talking about is just to the north right here. Okay. And I reached out to some of our partners on Friday and never heard anything back about, how would that be handled in terms of, yes, there is a condition on this property of 83 lots, but it doesn't say anything about limiting access. And that was a flag lot. And again, the 83 lots came from staff based on the site plan that was submitted at that time. The traffic study could handle it, could be less.
When are you saying that traffic study will be required?
It should be required now because it has more than 50 lots. It would be required as part, this here will be required as part of the civil land disturbing permit phase.
Gotcha.
And they think, Mr. Jamie, correct me if I'm correct, there's 50 lots, I believe, in the county where a traffic impact study would be required. And they'll have to take into fact what's happening up here to the north.
Mr. Anderson.
I double checked GIS, and in this resolution, it refers to tax map parcel 123-001, and Commissioner Janeway, I can confirm GIS also says that only that flag lot is 123-001. I even checked the piece to the south of it was never a part of 123-001. It came out of a different parcel.
What's the will of the commission?
I do want to ask the reasoning behind the staff limiting to 83, even though it was that piece of property. What would be the reasoning behind making that 83 lots?
Because that's what was shown on the site plan at that time. We were trying to make sure the lots were compatible with what was happening in Sweetbriar. I pulled the staff report. That was a reason behind 83. We're trying to make sure the lots were compatible with what was being developed here at Sweetbriar and what we'd seen was going to happen here.
So you already.
There wasn't anything tied to a traffic engineering report. If that's what you're getting at in terms of 83
Well, I'm
lots.
just trying to, if it was like Profit Lane only handled 83, then that would be,
We're not traffic engineers. And that's what, if you look at that report, that's part of that staff report. We had our transportation department in RPA at that time look at generally 83 lots, how much traffic would that generate? And it described what was happening. It wasn't a certified traffic engineer by engineer to say the magical number is 83 lots. And I don't know at that time, we took in the fact that Profit Lane is a flag lot, but now it looks like it's going to be developed as a county road. It's hard to see because I have the resolution on top of it. That is a flag lot that comes down the Mountain View Road.
Profit Lane is going to become a county road.
It will be.
Part of this.
Part of the development to the south. It's on his plat. The areas in red, that's Profit Lane here. That's going to be widened and built to county standards as a county road. And then here's where it goes across that section of the property that has a condition on it. So nothing here has conditions on it to 83 lots.
You're the applicant. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I'll clear a little bit of this up. I guess I'm the applicant technically, Matt Shaler, Smith Douglas Homes. Our office is 110 Village Trail, Woodstock, Georgia. We're no longer be developing the property, but I think I'm still listed as the applicant. It'll be a separate developer now, but I can speak to a couple of these questions either way. Profit Lane will be a substantial cost of this development, as Profit Lane being completely upgraded to county road standards. So I know it's kind of talked to as it's essentially a driveway right now, but it'll be a 50-foot right of way full. And you've got that in the plans. Where Profit Lane enters, it's 3 lanes, which works out pretty good. So there is a left turn lane into Profit Lane, and then a part of our plan, we will be adding that question about a right turn lane in coming from the north, I guess. So it'd have the left turn. It would also have, I guess, would be referred to as a decel lane for the right turn in. Was there any other questions that we were discussing there that I should speak to?
Councilwoman Burrs.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Brian, help educate me on the traffic study. Why would it not be completed before we approve this?
Usually that's in the next phase. You have a preliminary plat, then you move. This is giving you the general go ahead. Hey, we think the layout looks like it's going to meet standards. Then you move into where the real expense comes in, to the engineering drawings, engineering planning, transportation engineering coming in, looking at it. And then sometimes that's why you see the plans change. It may come back with a different preliminary plat, depending on what happens through the engineering plans. It's very costly. I don't know the cost to do a traffic engineer prior to having the plat approved.
And that's before it comes before the commission to approve?
Yes.
Okay. And then is the widening of the road, is that the responsibility of the developer?
Yes. In this case, it's a private
Okay.
driveway. The developer, at his expense, will have to do that.
That was my last item I meant to say. The traffic study has been ordered. I know that's either being done now, the study's being done now, or it's completed. And I haven't, if you haven't seen it, it's probably not completed yet, but the traffic studies is being done. I think there was regards to the, it might have been per request, but there was regards to doing that traffic study in school season. I think that was probably part of it, but the traffic studies, yeah, being done.
And who's the new developer?
West Brow Development.
Are you all working together or are they taking over the project?
That's right. We're the home builder, so we're buying the lots from the developer, and we're going to be the ones building the homes. So I can answer any questions to the homes being built, but.
Okay, thank you.
Developing lots. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, let me sort of clarify too. When in subdivisions, it's just not RPA staff reviewing those. We have Hamilton County Engineering Department looking at it, Transportation Department, the Fire Marshal. We have a lot of different departments looking at this. It's coming up with a staff report. Just want to clarify.
Thank you.
I've got a question about Profit Lane. So when this rezoning took place back in 2022 for the property to the north, to your memory, that was under the assumption that Profit Lane was going to remain private? Or was that also?
Oh, I don't recall. I don't know if that was an assumption then.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, it is a flag lot. No matter what would happen back there, they're going to have to widen that. You couldn't have that many lots off a flag lot like that. So something would have to happen. So I imagine our take was that was going to be a public road.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Comments? We have a staff recommendation to approve with conditions. What's a motion? I'm good to call a recess while y'all contemplate it. If there's no more questions or comments, we're not going to make a motion.
Resolution relevant to what we're discussing? It is not.
In the opinion of staff, it is not.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve. I think we can address any of the traffic concerns through, subdivision review and after before we get to final plat.
Okay. We have a motion
Second.
and it has been seconded. This is to approve with conditions. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next case on our agenda, item 5, case SDP-25-22 is a preliminary plat for Oakville subdivision lots 1 through 29 located at 1820 Jenkins Road. Staff is recommended to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? What's the will of the commission? We have a motion to approve, and it has been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next case on the agenda is SDP-25-23. This is a preliminary plat for Shalford Heights subdivision lots 1 through 28 located at 7437 Shalford Road. Staff is recommended to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? Any questions? What's the will of the commission? We have a motion to approve with conditions. And it has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next case is SDP-25-24. This is a preliminary plat for Cornerstone Place subdivision, lots 1 through 35 and community lots 1001 located at 1729 Gray Road. Staff is recommended to approve. Is there any opposition present? We have a motion to approve. It has been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, taking over momentarily. Next case is SDP 2526. Is there any opposition present? Okay, we have one in opposition. Is the applicant present? Okay. Brian, can we get a staff report?
Sure. This is the Hillocks Ridge subdivision off Highway 153. It's a preliminary plat. It's also a planned unit development. It's for lots 1 through 399. There's some community lots mixed in with this development. Staff reviewed it, does meet all the subdivision requirements. Staff recommends to approve this preliminary plat as submitted.
Tiffany, come on up. You can present.
Tiffany Farley with Kimley Horn. This is a revision to a plat that's already been approved. What we've done is come in and added a cul-de-sac, and we've added 17 lots. We did not have to go back through rezoning. And it's also part of a PUD. We checked with RPA, and because the density didn't increase by enough, we didn't have to go back. The plat was previously approved. I'm not sure what the concerns are, but happy to listen to them and see what we can do.
All right, thank you. I believe we had opposition. If you could come to the podium, you have up to 9 minutes. Please state your name and your address for the record.
My name is Noah Johnston. My address is 666 Charbel Street. I guess I have a question, which would be when it was previously approved, maybe. Is that something that can be answered? I wasn't aware of that.
It would have been, I think, last year.
It would have been last year.
Yeah.
I remember it was last year. I don't remember what month
I don't
it
know
was.
exactly that. We could get that, but I know it was last year. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if that is the case, then I'm going to save my comments for the public comment period later at the end of the meeting. That is something that's still taking place, right?
It is, yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, we have a staff recommendation to approve. What's the will of the commission? I have a motion that's been properly seconded. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. That takes us to old business, rezoning, closures, abandonments, and special permits. Case 2025-0054. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? Is the applicant present?
Mr. Chairman, the applicant's not reached out to us. We reached out to him several times. He's not contacted us. There was opposition back in April on this case, and I have not heard anything. We've not heard anything since that time.
Right, and we deferred it again from last month. We've
Yeah,
got
it
a
wasn't
staff
here then.
recommendation to deny still. Is that because we've asked for additional things and they've not been provided?
No, I think we were just opposed in general to the request, and I think we realized there's another case coming the following month, which is actually now being deferred. I think that's why it was deferred by this body, waiting on that case to come in. But we didn't. Somebody had mentioned, I think, cottage court as well. I don't think he can do a cottage court from my memory.
Okay. Well, we've got a staff recommendation to deny, no applicant present, no opposition present, but there was opposition in April and it's been deferred twice. What's the will of the commission? Do I have a second? I have a motion to deny that's been properly seconded. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, this next case has been withdrawn by the applicant.
Do we need to vote to act on it? Was it
Probably
done
so,
in time?
since it's on the agenda and been deferred.
Okay, what's the will of the commission on case 2025-0072? Have a motion and a second to withdraw. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. Case number 2025-0089. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? Okay. We have a recommendation to deny. Would you like to come? Do we want a staff report first or do we want the applicant? It's up to you guys.
We already heard from him last month, and he's done some work in the community, and we've got some conditions to discuss that I think may change.
Okay, Brian, can you give us the
Things-
staff report as a refresher then? Thank
Sure,
you.
can we go through the whole thing or just get to the conditions?
Just a quick overview of
Yeah.
where it
Okay,
is.
Sure, yeah, I'll go through it. This is a request to rezone from RN16 to CNT, Neighborhood Commercial Zone, proposed use of an office. It's roughly 0.48 acres in size. It's on Bonnie Oaks Drive. You can look at the zoning map here, everything around this property is zoned RN16. There's been no zoning history on this particular piece of property. However, to the southwest, there was a request to rezone that property, which is 7116 Bonnie Oaks Drive, from R1 to O1. The application was denied by City Council. Remember last month, you see the site here in relation to along Bonnie Oaks Drive and the existing commercial zones that are on Bonnie Oaks. It was mentioned last month, or yeah, I guess it was last month, about a used car lot and an animal kennel being used through here. And we checked, that is correct. There is a car lot here at 7206 Bonnie Oaks Drive and an animal kennel at 7112 Bonnie Oaks. But you look at the zoning map, they're zoned R1. I don't know how, they've been there for many, many years. So I don't know.
More than 60?
It's been a long time. And
Okay.
Karen, from her excellent memory, remembers the animal kennel as a child. So it's been a long time. I don't know how those happened, but they are there. So look at the zoning map.
So
You do
does-
have,
Brian, so we consider both the animal kennel and the car lot existing non-conforming?
I think so.
Okay.
I have a screen went out there, but have an aerial view too. You can sort of see those better on the aerial view. You can see the car lot here. It's a smaller car lot than the animal kennel. It's well off Bonnie Oaks, so it's sort of hidden. And then here's the site in relation to that. Everything else around this is pretty much single family. I'm not sure, beside this animal kennel, there may be maybe like a wrecker company happening here as well. I'm not really sure. It's hard to tell, but something's happening there. Again, it's not on Bonnie Oaks. Just another view of what's happening along Bonnie Oaks. We've had, several requests in this area. We've been trying to hold the line of commercial, no staying away from west of Bonnie Oaks. So you have a church that's on Old Cleveland Pike. You have a car lot, animal kennel. You have Silverdale Baptist Church. Do have a new Taco Bell, new Starbucks that's been developed. Of course, you're sitting right behind Amazon, the Enterprise South Industrial Parks. This area sort of transitioning. We still have residential through here as well. Here's a closer view of this property. It's a single family dwelling. Everything abutting it is single family residential. Here's a view of the site. I'll go through these quickly. South of the site, east of the site, west of the site, and here's looking Bonnie Oaks Drive. You can see it's still somewhat of a single family area. It's in the South Road Lee Highway Plan, which is 2005, which recommends single unit residential. There's a closer view of that place type, and there's the property in question in the red circle. Here's the site plan. I think he's using the existing structure with adding a parking lot. Staff felt the request was not compatible with adopted land use plan nor adjacent land uses. The plan doesn't support a non-residential zoning along this section of Bonnie Oaks. So staff recommended to deny. I think last month, the Planning Commission directed us to look at it a little bit further, maybe come up with some potential conditions. So we have those on the screen. This is typical conditions we've done for other office zoning requests in residential areas. One is retain existing structure, except for the driveway. No additional surface parking is permitted. No dumpster services for trash pickups allowed. And then number 4 is related to signage. One non-illuminated monument sign, which shall be set back 10 feet from the property line and not to exceed 48 square feet in area. So those are the typical conditions the council and the Planning Commission have recommended over the years on similar requests, if this body wants to move forward with an approval.
Okay, Councilwoman Burrs, do you have anything to add to that?
No, Mr. Hudson, do you want to come forward? I know you've spoken with the neighborhood association. If you'd just like to share that, and then I'd like to propose approval with, and I have some questions about some additional conditions to add to that, Brian.
It was already on. Hit it again. Yeah. Nope, you hit it too many times. One more time. There you go.
There you go.
Don't touch it
Got
again.
it, I see it.
Yeah.
Eric Hudson, 2627 Winter Garden Drive. Thank you. Yeah. As far as the report from the Silverdale Homeowners Association, met with the president on that, and they were in favor of this, and also communicated amongst their staff as well, and communicated if there was any opposition that he would let me know, and that if I needed a letter of recommendation, he would be more than willing to get that. did hold a community meeting, a couple of neighbors that are also on that strip that are between the property that I own that's in question here and the new Starbucks. And they were also in favor and aware of that. You know, this is an area that in the next few years already has plans for expansion throughout that area. They're going to transition that area as well. I'm looking at putting a counseling practice in it. As far as the conditions that are being proposed as well, I would have no issues with that, except number two, one of the things that would make, to be able to accommodate number two would also, I think, create a safety issue, because if anyone has tried to back out onto Bonnie Oaks Drive in that portion right there, the traffic count is too high to make. That would, condition I would see would be unsafe. That what I'm looking at adding would be in compliance with the land office request of putting something in the back that provides minimal amount of space for parking, but provides a safe means to be able to turn around so that you can exit out and keep with the flow and not cause any concern related to safety of pulling out with the current traffic count. And that was, you know, obviously a request of the local area, and that so that we could keep that on par with what is currently safe. So.
Councilwoman, did you have conditions to add to this or address the?
So the ones that I have, which I think so maintain a single family residential appearance with a pitched roof, residential windows and doors. Is that number one? Does that accomplish that?
Yours is more detailed than what we
Okay.
have. It just says
Okay.
retain existing structure. I mean, yeah, yours is more detailed. If
Okay.
that's something you like, we can replace that. with-
Yeah, I think I want to make sure that it remains the single family residential appearance. So that just means you can't remodel it and make it look
Right.
anything other than house.
No issues with that whatsoever.
The only expansion would be, provision would be anything that had to do with ADA compliance or is required by LDO. And I think the parking area, would that be included in that?
Did you have it grouped into the structure as well?
So, yeah, so no expansions or additions, except for what might be required by ADA requirements or as required by LDO.
I think that's got, it would
Okay.
cover the parking.
All right. Following uses would be medical or professional office only. So that means if you were to ever sell it or you decide to go into a different kind of business, it'd have to maintain that. And then you covered the signage, correct?
Yes, what's on the screen.
Number
That's,
four.
that's just different than what you are thinking.
No, I think that's fine. I put down monument signage,
Okay.
or if you put in, decide to just put something on the structure itself, like Eric Hudson and your alphabet after that.
Brian, just so everyone is clear on what we're dealing with, can you read back the conditions now as they currently stand? I believe we're
Yeah.
going to have an amended motion from the councilwoman in
Yes.
just a
Yeah,
moment.
I am.
The thing I got was medical professional office only is the uses.
Mhm.
Number three, no dumpster services for trash pickups allowed. Number four, one non-illuminated monument sign which shall be set back 10 feet from the property line. The sign shall be not exceed 48 square feet in area and shall not be more than 4 feet in height. I'm gonna need Councilwoman Burrs's
Yeah, we had changes to number
one and two. I think one and two sort of capture what Councilwoman Burrs, I think, is proposing.
And you said medical and professional office.
Medical and professional office,
Medical and
yes.
professional office, yeah. So if you're good with that, then I'd like to make a motion to approve with conditions.
as stated.
As stated.
And I can get the list from you. And
Okay.
we'll top it up and I'll send that to you.
Okay.
We have a motion that's been properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
I do have a
Oh,
quick
I'm
discussion
sorry.
point. Sorry. For the condition
Commissioner
that, there are two conditions limiting uses, or a condition limiting it to two uses. But, single unit detached and single unit attached are allowed by right in this zone. And it seems like it'd be beneficial to leave those as approved uses just in case somebody wants to convert this back into a dwelling unit rather than having it permanently be commercial.
I'm okay with that.
Councilwoman, would you accept that as a friendly amendment?
I would accept that, yes.
Okay, no need
Thank
for
you,
a
Nathan.
motion then. So Brian, hers should
Sure.
just be amended as Nathan
So that'll be a
said.
single unit attached and detached added to those medical and professional office uses only.
I need another
Okay.
motion now. Can you,
So a motion to approve
with
with
conditions?
conditions.
Have a second? Any other discussion?
And the only other point I'd make is that if this list of conditions is coming up frequently with this zone, I think we need to look at the zone itself and kind of.
I don't think it was, sorry to be clear, it wasn't this zone. It's things we've done in the past when we didn't have these new zones.
Okay.
It was like the R4.
Right.
Would go into residential areas.
Okay.
Just to clarify, it wasn't this zone. But we can look at it.
And thank you for bringing that up because I did want to bring up, Karen and I talked as well that we'd like to look at this area and maybe establish something more permanent because as this zone goes through and as Bonnie Oaks continues to develop, we want to make sure that we're still protecting the area.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a revised motion on the floor that's been properly seconded. We've had discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
First item under new business is case 2025-0099. It's located at 4525 Hickson Pike. It's a rezone from CC to IL, and staff is recommended to deny the applicant's request. Is there any opposition present? And is the applicant present? Oh, okay. Thank you. Mr. Schultz.
Yeah, this is case 2025-99. This is a request to rezone a piece of property from CC, commercial corridor, to IL, light industrial zone. The proposed use is outdoor storage on the property. It's 0.67 acres in size. Looking at the zoning map, everything abutting this property is commercial zone, whether it's CMU or CC. Further north across Bagwell Avenue, you do see RN16, but there isn't any industrial zone near this property. There's no zoning history for this piece of property. However, to the north, this was rezoned in 2022 to C2 from C2 to UGC with conditions. And of course, it's been equivalency mapped to CMU1, which is a commercial mixed use zone. It's 4525 Hickson Pike. You see the north is vacant. To the east across Hickson Pike is commercial and office uses. And to the south is a medical office and commercial uses. Here's a view of the site. You can see in the back corner of these are storage sheds that are on the property. That's not allowed in the current CC zoning classification. Another view of the site. This is a view of the site, the storage sheds that are on the property being used for storage. This is north of the site, which is zone CMU1. This is south of the site, which again is zone CC. East of the site, zone CC. They have some pictures supplied by the applicant. So I put those in the presentation. It's very similar to what we've taken a minute ago. See the building with the structures being used for storage. Closer view of the parking lot with the storage. Another view of the storage buildings on the property. This is adjacent to the property. Adjacent to the property with buffering. This property is in the Hickson North River Plan adopted in 2005. The place type or plan recommendation is medium business mix, which is like a commercial zone C2, what used to be our old C2 zone, which would now be CC. Here's a closer view of the property in question. Here's a site plan submitted with a request. The site is surrounded by non-residential uses. The request is not compatible with adopted land use plan to introduce industrial uses or storage at this site. Again, there's no industrial zoning near this property. The IL zone will introduce a higher intense development form along Hickson Pike and also including a maximum height of 80 feet in the IL zone. Adjacent buildings are all 2 stories. So based on that review criteria, staff recommends to deny this request to go to IL.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Any questions for staff? Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, Brian, I spent some time reading this one and going back over it over the weekend. The applicant has proposed several different zones that would be acceptable for his purposes, but I have a question more than anything, which is he's clearly in his narrative saying he's got 2 shipping containers, as the photo also showed, but we're calling it outdoor storage. Do we have anything more precise to call shipping containers? Because I feel like this is going to be a thing that we see more and more.
This has come up, I think, in our discussions with Public Works and the enforcement team about shipping containers.
Yeah.
We have not really, I don't think we've addressed that yet that I know of, specifically calling out shipping containers. Some places, municipalities do talk about shipping containers itself and limit the number that you can have on one piece of property. You're right. There are other zones, like a CR zone, that would allow outdoor storage.
So until we deal with shipping containers as a defined use, which we should probably talk about at some point.
Yes.
we treat this the same as a laydown lot?
I think so, because the way the outdoor storage is defined, it is talking about those lay down and contractor storage yards, or like you see at a Home Depot or something like that.
All right, thanks.
Can you come up?
Thank you. So when we started this process, I'm sorry, my name is Lou Boyd. I'm at 4525 Hickson Pike, Hickson, Tennessee, 37343. My son and I had a building on Dayton Boulevard that we used as storage. We sold the building and came up with the idea of getting 2 outdoor shipping containers. He had mentioned that the photos that y'all are seeing, that the back photos where you can see one of the shipping containers going down is adjacent property. It is not. It is owned by us. It is part of our property. So the property actually goes up to a top and then ascends down. And it allows for these 2 shipping containers to be put down there. So that was one of the reasons we knew it wasn't going to be seen from the road. We felt like it was adequate. All we're going to use it for is storage. We have 2 businesses that one is maintaining real estate property, so we need storage for that. And one is a sprinkler company, once again, just storage. We don't plan on doing any type of industrial work. We're not looking to make any noise, any electricity, any water. It's just for storage. When we brought these containers in, we have a building behind us. That's a doctor's office. They obviously were concerned, came out, voiced their concern. We told them that what we were planning on doing was taking these containers, fencing it, that it would not be seen by them. We'd have a fence around it. Everything would be, shielded from them as best as we could. We brought a surveyor in, surveyed the land, so we know exactly where our property starts and stops. When we did this, we called the RPA. We talked to them about having these containers. We had no clue of the zoning until we bought the containers. RPA gave us what we had to do with the containers, tie downs, all the stuff that we had to do. We felt comfortable with that. We purchased the containers. We brought them to the site. We can only assume that our neighbors behind called the city and complained because an inspector came out and informed us that CC is not something that maintains outdoor storage. So his suggestion was to file for a zoning change. So we're not looking to make an 80-store building. We're comfortable with our building. It suits us fine. We're not making any moves. We're not changing anything on the site besides going in the back, cleaning it up, and putting 2 shipping containers that we're going to surround by a fence and probably some shrubbery so that it is not offensive to our neighbors. We did inform them of that and want to make sure they knew that. It didn't seem to be something that they took into place. So that's why I'm standing here right now, looking for some way to find out if there is a way to have outdoor storage on a piece of property that we own. And there is a zoning it's either IL or IH that is actually down the road from us on the YMCA property. If you look at it, here's our property and here's the zoning. And they, guess what, have a shipping container on that property.
Any questions for the applicant? All right, we've got a number of people here that raised their hands when I asked for opposition. We want to hear from them, and then you'll have an opportunity to respond. If you're here in your opposition and like to speak, come on up.
Good afternoon, Hannah Claire Bogus with Chambliss Bonner and Stoffel, 605 Chestnut Street. We represent Beacon Health, which operates Highland Pediatrics, which is the medical office you see on the screen. Our clients did have some conversations with the property owner when they saw trees coming down, and as you can see, their lot does go right up against the parking lot there. And so, there's this flag that comes off of Hickson Pike. yeah, as a big picture, we don't think that industrial is consistent with the surrounding uses as staff has laid out, but specifically for a pediatric medical office and the particular use of the medical facility with the shipping containers being so close to the parking lot, the existing vegetation that was there that acts as a buffer being already taken down, and to date, no fence being put up. This is a concerning use, just with young patients and young families running around. The containers that are currently there are just sort of out in the open, very unsightly. We also just don't think this property is large enough for both the insurance office and this secondary use to be there as well. So we'd like this section of Hickson Pike to remain friendly to professional offices and other commercial uses. And I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'll yield the rest of my time.
Thank you.
I'm Tom Dupre, and I'm here to represent Gus Issa, who owns the property to the north, and he has permitting getting ready to break ground on a $13 million townhouse facility there. That'll be a great residential addition to the Hickson community. These are going to be 2-story townhouses that would overlook what we're seeing as cargo containers. And there's really no way to camouflage what they look like. And what Gus is suggesting to do is that they would build a residential looking like garage with garage doors, something that's permanent, not something that's intermediate like this, and something that's compatible with the neighborhood. Because it's certainly not compatible with the Highland Pediatrics to the north that has a staff and patients that are coming there, and people that'll be living in the townhouses there overlooking this area. So not that they can't do storage there, but certainly that does not seem like the vehicle that they should use to do it. Something more on a permanent basis that looks more compatible with the current construction, and something maybe more residential looking, 1 story would be compatible with what would probably serve the purpose. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, you're welcome to come back up.
I would note that both of the containers, part of the RPA's suggestion to us or requirement would be to make them stationary. So I'm not sure what the difference between whether I'm putting a garage back there or whether I've got 2 containers back there. We will fence it. It sits way below the road. It sits below Mr. Issa's property also, which has, you can see a number of trees and bushes between it. And as far as the medical office behind it, children running around, it would be fenced. There would be no way they could get in and out. So it would be protected. Thank y'all.
Thank you. What's the will of the commission?
Looking through these zones while folks are talking, I was looking through the light industrial zone, as well as the CR, I don't remember what that stands for, commercial regional. Neither of those zones really seem to be fitting for this site, just based on where it is and its access to the road and the uses that are allowed, the setbacks that those zones come with. So I'm inclined to move to deny, but this seems like a problem that needs a different solution rather than a rezoning. I don't think we're going to come to that in that meeting, but
Yeah,
in this meeting.
and we have talked about the RPA that we've been aware of the storage being a concern. And of course, it won't help the immediate situation in front of you today, but we realize there's something we need to look at in terms of outdoor storage.
Right.
And the shipping containers.
Right.
Not sure when we can get something back to you all, but.
It's interesting to me too. I don't really know the difference between a shipping container and if I were moving and I bought one of those pod storage systems, where does that fall? Like this whole kind of mobile storage, it's not really a storage unit. It's a shipping container. It's meant to be moved around. It's a weird spot to be in. But we're not going to figure that out in this meeting, so I'm going to go ahead and move to deny.
We have a motion to deny, and it has been properly seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah,
Councilwoman
I
Burris.
have a question though. I mean, I think that, in looking at these is that maybe it's a bigger, because I'm looking at a map of a lot of some of the stuff that I'm seeing in the same area would, shipping container would be a big improvement. I mean, there's piles of tires and, that would, I'm sure the neighbors would be happy to see them in a shipping container. I wonder, sometimes it's the enforcement of, you have the right rules, but if you don't enforce them, I don't know what the point is. Some of this stuff is, the neighbors get rightly mad and upset because we're not doing, or the enforcement arm of what we're doing is extremely lacking. So I don't know where that fits into what we're talking about, but I mean, I think that, I don't know how you, deny, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here that I see that's a lot worse than a shipping container, for sure.
And Mr. Chairman, we as staff, we did have one of our staff members, a couple months ago, do some peer review of other places dealing with shipping containers. We have some stuff we can bring back to this body, I guess, next month or two to start discussions on possible text amendments. Doesn't help this gentleman in front of us today, though, but if there's a will to move something forward,
Well, I mean, I think, yes, he wants shipping containers, but there's also neighbors who don't want shipping containers because that's not what they want next to them. So, I mean, irregardless of whether or not there's maybe a solution to be had in terms of where they can go and where they should be placed, we have heard from the neighbors that they don't want to be next to shipping containers. And I mean, I do want to say, I think it is an option. The one gentleman mentioned that a permanent structure could be built for storage, right? And so that's certainly an option. We have a motion, and it was seconded, right? Did you want to say something, Councilwoman Burrs?
Yes,
And then
so my
Mr.
question,
Janeway.
just of process, so if we deny, let me back up. So somebody's going to look into this to see if there's something we need to do on a broader scale relative to shipping containers.
That's correct.
Okay. If we deny this particular application, and we decide shipping containers are okay, how long does he have to wait to reapply?
That's at council level, it'd be 9 months, but if it's only amending his current zone, he'd be good. And if it's another zone that we allow shipping containers in, put standards, yes, he'd have to wait 9 months to apply for that.
So is it better to withdraw than deny if something changes and he can come back before this body? I'm asking a dumb question, guys. Sorry, I'm learning. So,
I think a lot of times what we'll do is, in this scenario, if we're recommending to deny, the applicant still has several weeks to interact with their city council rep and get it withdrawn before council.
Okay.
Because it's only when council takes that action that 9 month.
so it
timer
gets
starts.
denied here, it'll still go before council.
That's correct. And then he can let city council, if he
Okay.
so chooses, get with the Madam Chair and get it withdrawn.
If it's denied here, it doesn't start over again? I mean,
No.
So our denial has most really doesn't mean.
What's the recommendation to city council? And it'll go on to city council regardless what happens unless it's withdrawn.
So it's the city council's action really.
That's where the 9 months, correct. That's the time frame. Is that legislative body action?
Mr. Janeway and then Mrs. Rennick.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I feel like, I personally don't have a problem with the shipping containers, but it feels like we're trying to drive nails with a sledgehammer. It's just not the right tool for the job. So I think I would support a denial in this case.
And we can commit to bringing something back. We've already done some initial research and talked to LDO, so we can bring something back next month. And to Councilwoman Burrs's comment, if this is moving forward, we will LDO will be aware of that since this is an enforcement issue also. So we will coordinate with them. If there is going to be a change in this zone, they would know and be able to respond appropriately, I think. I'm not saying there is, but we would communicate with them as we develop that possible zoning ordinance amendment.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilwoman Burrs.
Sorry, I have one other question. For those that were opposed to it, would you be okay with it if it was properly hidden with fencing and landscaping? Would your client, you don't want it at all? Thank you.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next case on the agenda, item 2, under new business, is case 2025-0102. And this is located at 6401 Mountain View Road. And it's an application to rezone from CC to INST. And it has a recommendation to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? And in regards to the conditions, you're good with them? Okay. What's the will of the commission? With conditions.
With conditions, thank you.
We have a motion to approve with conditions. It has been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, is that, Mr. James, would you let no? Okay.
Next case on the agenda is case 2025-0103. And this is located at 5515 Main Street. It's an application to rezone from R2 to C2. And staff is recommended to deny the applicant's request and approve other. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? Are you familiar with the staff's recommendation? And are you okay with it?
That's correct.
Yes.
It's a lesser intense zone.
Yeah. We have a motion to approve staff recommendation. It has been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next case, item 4 on our agenda is case 2025-0104. And this is located at 2306 and 2338 Grider Way. And staff is recommended to deny the applicant's request for rezoning from RN2 to CC Commercial Corridor Zone. Is there any opposition present?
And Mr. Chairman, we did receive some emails in opposition that would have been supplied you in your email on Friday.
Thank you. Is the applicant present? There you are. All right, Mr. Schultz.
Sure, this is case 2025-104. This is off Shalford Road. This is a request to rezone some property that's currently zoned RN2 Residential Neighborhood Zone to CC Commercial Corridor Zone for proposed use of a hotel, retail, and an out parcel for a restaurant. It's roughly 4.7 acres in size. Number of rooms in the hotel would be 84. And so again, it's an out parcel for retail or restaurant. That use hasn't really been determined yet. Looking at the zoning map, you do see there's a mixture of zones from residential to the west and south and north. You do have some commercial at the intersection of Shalford Road and Jenkins at that roundabout or intersection there. There is no zoning history on this piece of property. However, to the west or east of this site in 1999, the corner that was rezoned from R2 to C2 with conditions. Then zoomed out a little further, if you go to the east of the intersection, you go further east along Shalford Road, you do see there was a zoning case that rezoned R1 and R4 to RN3 with conditions. And that condition was limited to maximum height of 4 stories, maximum density of 190 dwelling units. And it goes on about number of acres set aside for open space and the building setback from Shalford Road and trash pickup. Here's adjacent land uses. To the west is single-family detached, which is Drake Forest. To the north is multifamily and an institutional use, Grace Baptist Church. Then you have commercial at the intersection is roundabout, and then you have vacant land. And the south is single-unit detached residential. There's a view of the site. Another view of the site. Another view of the site. This is north of the site. Northwest of the site. South of the site, again, see more single-family dwellings. This is northeast of the site, which is the commercial Dunkin' Donuts. West of the site, this Drake Forest. This property is one of our newer plans. It's located in the East Brainerd Area 11 plan, which recommends suburban residential. The primary uses being single-unit detached residential. Here's a closer view of that place type recommendation. Again, you can see it's right here off Shalford Road, which is suburban residential, and it keeps the commercial zone at the intersection, or a node, if you will. Here's a site plan submitted with the request. It's one entrance in with a hotel to the rear, an out parcel of the restaurant. This site is surrounded by residential and institutional uses. The CC zone will introduce commercial uses that are higher in intensity than the adjacent single unit detached residential to the west and south. The current zone, which is RN2, serves as a transition between the CC at the intersection to the east of the site and the RN1 Zone 6 property to the west of the site. So this current zone serves as a buffer. The development form in this area is suburban residential, which is typically 1 to 2 story dwellings. The proposed hotel will be 4 stories at this location. There are nuisance concerns or potential negative impacts on Drake Forest and adjacent single-family dwellings, such as noise, lighting, parking, hours of operation, and truck traffic. This request is not compatible with adopted land use plan. It is not compatible with adjacent land uses to the south and west. Again, if this is approved, it would expand the commercial node further west along Shalford Road, which the plan does not envision or support. Staff is more supportive of moderate density residential housing, such as townhomes or duplexes at this location, and is in alignment with the secondary uses of the East Brainerd area plan. So staff recommended to deny this request.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Any questions for staff? Mr. Jones?
Good afternoon. My name is Alan Jones with Stone Creek Consulting. Address is 1112 Wilmouth Road in Dunlap, Tennessee. So I did have a neighborhood meeting last Monday. It was well attended. We probably had about 30 residents show up to the meeting. In general, as you'll probably hear, the residents are not in favor of a hotel at this site. Some of the things that we did discuss was, what's the current use of the property with it being zoned RN2? More than likely it'll be a townhome development. Obviously, single family detached is also an option within that zoning. If you look at a density, by code, it could probably be 150 townhomes on the site, but the reality of it is it's probably a 50 to 75 unit townhome development for that site, which would yield, probably 150 cars per day from a traffic perspective. As with every rezone that I've kind of worked on, the 2 big things that you typically hear are traffic and stormwater. If you look at a hotel, if you look at the average hotel occupancy rate in Hamilton County, it's about 60%. So with an 84 room hotel, on average, you're looking at about 50 rooms being rented, per night, which is, only 50 cars per day. And if you look at hotel traffic versus residential traffic, their traffic aligns separately from, when everyone's going to work, when traffic is jam logged, and also in the evenings when people are coming home from work. So it'll definitely help on a traffic perspective. Stormwater, only a small portion of the site actually drains towards Shalford Road. The rest drains towards the rear. And then the engineers will just have to comply with all the stormwater regulations that, the city is going to require of them. One of the big questions and concerns that came up from the community was the quality and type of the hotel. The developer that I represent and landowner, he's looking at doing a land lease for a hotel. He has not solidified any contracts yet with any hotel, but he is looking at leasing a higher end brand name hotel for this particular site. But I will leave the rest of my time for the opposition to come up and speak.
Thank you. I saw several hands go up of folks that were here in opposition. If you'd like to speak, come on up and line up here on the right side of the room. State your name and address for the record.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Alan Folk, 2115 Merlin Drive. I'm here representing the members of Drake Forest HOA. We submitted an 8-page letter to the group here. I hope everyone had an opportunity to read that. I will not read it, but Mr. Jones did mention traffic. That was the #1 concern of everyone in Drake Forest, as well as some of the surrounding community leaders that we met with. Shalford Road currently backs up tremendously, especially in the busy times, so much so that it blocks the entrances to Drake Forest, and our residents have trouble getting in or out of the subdivision. The other issue was security risks, transient activity that happens with hotels. We already have quite a bit of security risk within our neighborhood. We don't really want transient members coming in and out. The light pollution and sound noise. We did attend Mr. Jones's meeting last week. He did talk about having all of the parking spaces facing away from Drake Forest so that we didn't have headlights. However, even the site plan does have some of the parking spaces aimed directly at Drake Forest. So with that in mind, we would ask that you oppose this. Stormwater runoff. Again, I know the site plan shows some retention ponds. Drake Forest is already in a low-lying area. We've got the Empire development on the other side of our neighborhood that's already caused stormwater issues. We would not like the development of that for that reason alone. just the impact to the neighborhood character and visual appeal. It's not in keeping with the area plan that we all voted on and gave input on a couple of years ago. We don't need another hotel. There's already 2 new hotels on Shalford Road that have been put in the last couple of years. If those are at 60% occupancy, as he mentioned, then I don't see a need for a 3rd hotel. And then just the quality of the business. He mentioned that we had a lot of concerns about the type of hotel that would go in there, the quality of that being 85 rooms. That's a rather small hotel, which would, to me, indicate a lower quality hotel, and that's something that we're very concerned with. So I will yield the rest of my time to the rest of the opposition. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Todd Patterson, 7708 Ashley Oaks Drive. I'm representing the Ashwood Homeowners Association. We're about just shy of 200 homes representing 500 people. On the map there, it indicates multifamily. We're slightly to the west of it. Our biggest concern is the traffic, and not only on Shalford, where we also have problems entering and exiting, but also our development exit, in addition to Shalford, onto Pinewood, about 100 yards from Jenkins. And currently, it is very difficult to make a turn onto Jenkins. And this is going to just, the additional cars would make that even more so. So our development's biggest concern, as is most of them, is the additional traffic. And I will yield my additional time.
My name is William Lloyd. I live at 2020 Galahad Road in Chattanooga. It's in Drake Forest. I want to bring up a couple of points. Number one is infrastructure. We approve a lot of things, but infrastructure seems to kind of take a second place. Jenkins Road is basically a 2-lane rural road, and it is falling apart. It's being patched, but it keeps falling apart daily. And to do something like this only adds to that kind of condition. Which is an impact to the residents that live in the area, and not only the folks that have to drive it every day to get to work. Secondly, Drake Forest, through what I would say is lenient zoning and permitting, is essentially under assault. On one side, you have the Ashford small home villas, which are little small homes that border up to the lot lines of people on Peterson Drive. Then next to that, you have the Havens at Shalford 3-story apartment complexes, again, built up to the property lines. So you have 3-story apartment houses looking down on their backyards and back doors of further residents on Peterson Drive. Additionally, it's been approved for the Cigna development, which is hundreds of homes which are going to border Peterson and Galahad Road. Again, the density and construction does not conform to what is in Drake Forest, which are all hundreds or upper scale homes, 100-foot plus lot lines. And so to now add a further different kind of property to Drake Forest is really unfair to the people in Drake Forest and who have put so much into maintaining and upkeeping the quality of their neighborhood. I would urge you to go with the staff recommendation and deny this, and pay attention to what the Drake Forest Homeowners Association in Ashford have put forth to you previously. Thank you.
Mr. Jones.
So this community has seen a lot of change. When I was working with the City Land Development Office 12, 13 years ago, I was helping condemn properties on Shalford Road. That's how much this place has changed. And now we've had a beautiful build out of Shalford Road. And it just continues to do so. Some of the concerns, especially from Drake Forest, you're looking at traffic. I think the Ashwood folks talking about traffic. Traffic's always going to be something we're always going to have a discussion about. Hotel use is going to have a lot less traffic than 75 to 50 townhomes. The other concerns like light pollution and noise, and some of those kind of concerns, those can be addressed with conditions, with directing light in a certain way, having parking addressed in a certain way, looking at how we address the buffers. From a height perspective, the commercial building that's fronting Shalford Road can be limited to 2 stories or 1 story. So those are conditions that, if this site's appropriate for a hotel, can be addressed through conditions. Unfortunately, it's kind of the comments with, discussing with some of the neighbors at the meeting is, they're really not even willing to consider conditions. It's just a flat out no. But so a lot of these concerns that they're bringing to the table, we can't really address without having that conversation. The transient piece, if it's a townhome development, it's rental or for sale. So, you have a bit of transient. Yes, hotel is a different type of transient. But, in just the unknown of the quality of the hotel, I would not liken that a hotel of 84 rooms is equal to low grade. Look at some of the hotels that we have in Chattanooga. There are some that are much smaller than this that are really nice. So there's an opportunity to have a really nice development on this site. And going back to traffic, not to sound rude, but if the neighborhood across the street is 500 people and 200 homes, they're contributing to the traffic as well. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions for Mr. Jones? What's the will of the commission? We have a motion to deny and it has been properly seconded. Any discussion? I'll say something. I just, I know we have a staff recommendation to deny, and I know we have a motion and a second to deny. Any development here is going to come with the exact same opposition for the most part. So, I'm not saying that's the wrong thing to do. But I am saying it is interesting to be in this position where every development of every kind in every part of our county has opposition. So yes, today it's a hotel. If I'm assuming the applicant will come back with something else, we'll have opposition to that, and we'll have opposition to that, we'll have opposition to that. And I just think every time when we do see opposition, it's one of those things where they're saying the same thing, which is the infrastructure is not enough, the road's not enough, there's too much traffic, and so on and so forth. And that will be the case with every kind of development, except for containers. So if you would please consider shipping containers there would be no traffic impact. So, Mr. Genway?
Yeah, I just want to clarify, my motion isn't because there's development, it's because it doesn't follow the plan. And as somebody that's worked for 2.5 years to try to get a plan passed, I understand what people went through probably to get this plan in place. And I feel like if there's a plan in place, we should follow the plan.
All in favor, say aye.
Mr. Chairman.
Did you want to say something?
I did, yeah.
Go ahead.
And typically, and I agree with you. I think you will find opposition no matter what development is here because the neighbors are concerned with what's going to be adjacent to their neighborhood forever. But similarly to Commissioner Janaway, it's about what the right development is. And I think there can be a right development that the neighborhood can work with a developer to achieve.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next case on the agenda is case 2025-0105. This is located at 3524 Broad Street. And staff is recommended to deny the applicant's request to rezone from CMU1 to CR. Is there any opposition present? And is the applicant present?
Mr. Chairman, we did receive some emails in opposition as well.
Mr. Schultz?
Yeah, this is case 2025-105. This is a request to rezone some property. It's actually sandwiched in between Broad Street and Charger Drive down in Broad Street to rezone from CMU1 to CR. Proposed use is a drive-through coffee shop. In the CMU1 zone, eating and drinking establishments are permitted, but it doesn't allow drive-through because you're wanting more of the urban type setting. So drive-through is a use that's not allowed in that CMU1 zone. That's the need for the rezoning. It's roughly 0.3 acres in size. There's been no zoning history on this. Well, this actually was down zoned through a zoning study. In 2015, from M1 to UGC, and then part of the equivalency mapping was zone CMU1. You see on the map, there is no CR zone property near this. It's all CMU1 or industrial zoning. This, I believe, was a former bank and antique store. You see again, it's sandwiched in between Broad and Charger Drive. To the north will be, I think it's a vacant office. Then you have institutional, commercial uses and office along Broad Street, and south is commercial, and the west is commercial public shopping center. In the east is the institutional, which is CCS school. Here's a view of the site from Broad Street. This is a view of the site from Charger Drive. Again, I think at one time this was a bank. This is north of the site, which is an office. This is south of the site, it's commercial shopping center or office complex. East of the site, which is CCS. This is west of the site, looking towards the public shopping center. This is Broad Street, looking north towards downtown. The site's on the right-hand side. This property's in the South Broad redevelopment plan, which is adopted in 2003. The plan recommendation is commercial. Well, it does have a policy that new buildings should exhibit urban setbacks and building character and offer a variety of uses. So again, it's trying to get more of the urban form, which is why the CMU zone was there to start with, or UGC prior to that. Here's a closer view of the plan and place type recommendation. You can see that again, it's commercial uses. Here's the site plan submitted with the request. Charger Drive is to the bottom and Broad Street's to the north. Looks like one entrance in and one entrance out onto Broad Street with no exit onto Charger Drive. Again, this is simply a drive-through coffee shop. The request is compatible with adjacent land use in terms of commercial. However, the CR zone allows for higher intense commercial uses such as outdoor storage facilities, vehicle rental and vehicle repair, and drive-through uses. The CMU commercial mixed-use zone accommodates a more traditional urban mixed-use development form that's envisioned by the plan at this location. Again, the CMU1 zone is more compatible than CR at this location. The request is not compatible with the development form of the area or the adopted land use plan. The CR zone is more suburban in nature and is not what envisioned by the redevelopment in this South Broad area. It's not an extension of the existing zone. It was noted that there are some traffic safety concerns from CDOT or Public Works, not Transportation Department. It does queue and back up during school hours at this intersection, so there are some challenges with traffic concerns, and staff recommends to deny this request.
Thank you. Any questions for staff before we hear from the applicant? Mr. Anderson?
Brian, this bank that used to be there, did it have a drive-through?
It did. And if you go back to the pictures, well, looks like a drive-through on the bottom left-hand side there.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not sure when that bank was there.
Mr. Price.
Thank you. Mike Price, MAP Engineers. So let me just first alleviate staff's concern. We will not put any storage facilities on this site if we are passed as it relates to this request. So if you could pull up, Brian, the planned, and if you look at on the left and the right, there's a comparison. So what you have basically now is unrestricted access coming in off of Broad Street and unrestricted access as it relates basically coming off of Charger Drive. So you can cut through here in and out, and it has been that for a number of years. So what we looked at is trying to intentionally look at a plan that addressed some of the traffic concerns, especially as it related to CCS and Charger Drive. So we cut off all access from Charger Drive. We then, as well, instead of having just a wide open access coming in off of Broad Street, looked at creating an entrance in and an exit out onto Broad Street. So to basically define the location where one can get in and out as it relates to the proposed use. So this is a proposed Scooters coffee shop. It does have a drive-through that comes through. And to Commissioner Anderson's point, there has been a drive-through here for a number of years. The difference, though, when you look at the two plans is you see that we're landscaping, we're improving the area, we're reducing the carbon footprint, if you will, and creating a traffic flow, which currently you really don't have, which is just sort of at this point is, go for it in terms of coming in and off of the site. We did have a neighborhood meeting. There were some 20 individuals that were there at the meeting. The comments were good, and basically everyone came out in support. The only concern they had was traffic. But again, I think we've done our best in terms of addressing that. We will be tearing off the back of the building where that unsightly drive-through lane is, utilizing the rest of the building, sort of refurbishing it, bringing it up to date, more to speed in terms of from an aesthetic standpoint through there. Councilwoman Dotley is also aware of the site, and I don't want to speak for her directly, but all indications at this point is that she favors the proposed use. So if there's any questions, happy to answer those at this time.
Any questions for the applicant?
I got one. Is there a sit-down component to the restaurant? Is it
There's-
only drive-through?
It is only drive-through.
Mr. Anderson?
I'm curious, Mike, who was at this there's no neighborhood association that this is in the footprint of. So were these people from St. Elmo with concerns? Were they from South Broad? Were they, because no one lives next, I mean, almost no one lives next to this.
They were both. So we informed Councilwoman Dotley, who then set up a meeting, and then that was one that we attended.
Yeah.
I was not at the meeting personally, but that was what I was informed.
Okay.
Commissioner Anderson, the Community Association of Historic St. Elmo does include this area on the latest maps. And we did have a public meeting. Derek was there. I appreciate him showing up. I'm not sure if everybody coming out in support was the most accurate way to describe it. There were a lot of questions, there were a lot of concerns, but the public meeting was mostly St. Elmo folks, at least the one I was aware of.
That's the
There
only
may have been
meeting.
another meeting.
No, that's the only meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Christian Smith, 2104 Suck Creek Road. I'm here to represent CCS, just provide a little bit of information quickly. It won't just take a moment. We have approximately 1,500 students currently with enrollment increasing. We're right there in the area, obviously. It's right next door, and I see that a lot every single day, so I'm very aware of it. And I'm very aware of the traffic through on Charger Drive. So with pickup and drop off, we're looking for about 740 to about 820 every day, and then about 240, 245 to about 320. We're looking over 1,000 cars drop off and pick up on a daily basis. So I just wanted to kind of bring that into light on what kind of volumes are there. We do have traffic control, and it does back up, completely stopped on Charger and on Broad completely during these periods of time. And we have traffic control and officers present to keep this traffic moving at that time. But there's only so much you can do with so much space. So at that point, and then the other thing not positive about this element of it, but there was something mentioned about a crosswalk, and I just want to officially say that the CCS would seem like a crosswalk may be a good idea across Charger, but it's kind of unintended consequences kind of thing. Whereas once we get our students, which is pre-K all the way through 12, once we get them on campus, we like to keep them there for the day. We have cut through when you come south on Broad Street. It's just a slight little left turn. And I watch, and I've actually reached out to the Chattanooga Police Department on several occasions. I have a meeting tomorrow in reference to it. The speeds through there are unbelievable with this traffic. I was a radar certified police officer for many, many years before I retired. And I estimate that it's a dangerous area. And I have concerns with it, not relating to the coffee shop, but that's all I'll say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Price.
Again, I think that the plan is an improvement. The really issue is that the current zone doesn't allow for a drive-through, even though there's one existing on the site. But the fact that we have to tear it down takes it away from us just to be able to put it back into the building at a different location that would work for the proposed use. We understand that the zone is a little bit more intense and certainly willing to strike any conditions that would be objectionable that we could work out with Councilwoman Dotley between now and getting to City Council. So if there's any questions, happy to answer those.
Mr. Maybe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This actually I have a question for staff. Mr. Schultz, what it's currently zoned, the CMU1, What kind of uses are allowed in that zone? And would they have, a traffic impact similar to what's being proposed here?
It's more of a mixed use. It's very similar to CR, but it's really the CMU has more design controls in it. It's more of an urban type zone, pushing things closer to Broad Street, which is what the plan envisions at this location. It is a smaller piece of property through there. Yeah, I mean, it was a bank many, many years ago. I'm not sure when that closed, but again, we're using the current plan as guidance, and it recommended urban type development form there, even though it was a bank.
So I guess what I'm getting at is the staff's concern mainly the design portion of it? Or
We don't look at the design, more the uses and
I
what the
guess
plan, what the plan
when I say
envisions.
design, like layout of the building and stuff, or is it the use end of it?
It's more the plan, what the plan recommended. The plan recommends more of a mixed use, urban style setting, moving things closer to the road.
Would this have been allowed in the UGC use before that was changed?
I don't remember off the top of my head if a drive-through only would be allowed.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz.
It did address automobile stuff like, drop the road. There is a car wash that's sort of very similar, but I can't recall off the top of my head, a drive-through only.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Payne?
The issue you have with it being closer to the road, you're saying closer than the building that's sitting there now is to the road?
Oh, the plan that's adopted by the city council, and go back to that. It recommends new buildings should be exhibit urban setbacks. So the vision along Broad Street was moving things closer to the street, have a more of an urban type setting than suburban sitting there.
Right.
And the CMU zone is the zone that allows that.
Right. But
The
are
CR
you guys
doesn't do
tearing
that.
the building down? I mean, I guess that's the quandary. If the building's sitting there, somebody's gonna have to tear the building down in order to meet the new zoning?
Or they come in with a use that's allowed in that zone. We're not gonna make them tear the building down. But unfortunately, in the CMU zone, it doesn't allow drive-through restaurants. Now, if it's an eating establishment, you can do it in that zone.
It's all drive-through?
Nope, that's the issue. You can have eating and drinking establishments, and a drive-through is not allowed as a standalone in that zone. Now, if it's a Wendy's, yes, you can have it in that zone.
So if they serve egg McMuffins or whatever.
As long as you have sit down, as long as you go in.
We need to put picnic table in there.
Mr. Byrd?
Yes, so at the San Elmo meeting, most of the concerns that I heard were about traffic, about there's a Dunkin' Donuts up the road that the drive-through line actually backs up into Broad Street fairly frequently. So at the neighborhood meeting, traffic seemed to be the primary concern. And for full disclosure, I'm the president of that neighborhood association, but we didn't take any formal action or anything. My primary concern from a planning standpoint is actually just that this area is rapidly changing. Commissioner Anderson has already pointed out, the existing building has a drive-through, but when the existing building was built and that drive-through was put into place, we didn't have millions of dollars being spent on a new stadium just down the road in the hopes of creating a new commercial urban district. Since that time, we've got a lot of upcoming development in this area. It has all been rezoned to CMU, which is, as Brian has said, mixed use, urban, smaller setbacks, parking in the rear. And if I'm not mistaken, the draft plan Chattanooga even has this corridor slated as transit-oriented development potentially. So I just don't think that CR is the right zone for this corridor. I think sticking with CMU that we already have is, that's what this corridor is becoming rapidly, and I think it should stay that way. I don't see a reason to rezone a parcel to a zone that in the description for the CR zone, it's auto-oriented. And I think Broad Street is moving away from that. So unless there's any other concerns, I'm going to move to deny.
Mr. Genway?
Brian, if he had a walk-up window and a picnic table outside, could he do it in the current zone?
I don't know. I'm not codes enforcement. I think it says there's a. That's a good question.
I ask because that seems like an easy solution here.
I'm not going to answer that because I'm not codes enforcement.
Okay.
I'd have to look at how the eating and drinking establishments defined.
Because that's basically the way the Dunkin' is.
Well, this Dunkin' that they're talking about on Broad
Yeah.
Street doesn't have you can walk up, you're right.
Yeah,
but
you can
can't-
walk up, there's a little, there's either a
Like a
table
window,
or
I
bench
think
or
a
something
window.
outside, yeah. Because I guess I do understand this is becoming a more walkable area, and it seems like ideally you would have a walk-up option.
Here's the definition: an establishment where food and or drinks are prepared and provided to the public for on-premises consumption by seated patrons, carry-out and or delivery service.
So
I don't
theoretically,
know how LDO
theoretically.
would
I'll
classify that.
second the motion.
They're seated in the cars.
We have a motion to deny, and it has been properly seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
No. Roll call, please.
All right.
Nay.
I didn't get it because I was still writing stuff down. We moved so quick here.
You're supposed to be keeping count.
Well, I was writing down, I was getting ready to call it off. Next thing I know, we
Did I
started
go
going.
too fast?
You did go fast.
Okay, don't change your vote.
So
We
the
got it
no
on
is,
video.
the no is to deny it. Oh,
The motion is to deny.
okay,
The
yes,
motion
okay.
is to deny.
Nay.
I got 5 nay and 4, 5 to 4.
So the motion fails.
Yeah, I got 5 no and 4 yes.
Okay, motion failed. Mr. Payne, you want to make a motion?
Second.
We have a motion to approve, and it has been properly seconded. Any discussion? The only thing that I would add would be that, maybe there would be some condition that would address some of the concern that we've heard. And, I know the applicant has put in front of us a site plan that attempts to address that. And,
Mr. Chairman, I'd
Putting-
like to move to amend Commissioner Payne's motion by adding a condition, no vehicular access from Charger Drive.
all right, we've got an amended motion, and it has been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Did everybody vote the exact same way, only in reverse? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Next case is item 6 on our agenda. It's case 2025-0107. It's located at 9101 Amos Road. And staff has recommended to deny the applicant's request and approve other for a lifting of conditions from Hamilton County Resolution 324-30B. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? And in regards to the staff recommendation, Mr. Price, would you be amenable to what's been recommended here? Okay. We do have opposition, and so Mr. Schultz, love to.
Sure, this is case 2025-107. This is to lift a condition from a previous resolution to rezone this property. It's a mixed-use, active adult, 55-plus over age development. It's roughly 77.34 acres in size, 477 units for the entire development. I'll go quickly to the conditions. That's what we're talking about in this case is conditions. There was roughly 11 conditions. The applicant's wishing to amend condition number 1 and 4. Condition number 1 is in red, was the developer shall dedicate 10 feet of right-of-way along the entire frontage of the development fronting Snow Hill Road. That's the current condition. 2 and 3 will stay the same. Number 4, the applicant is, in red is the current condition. The 2 buildings proposed for memory care, assisted living, and active adult uses shall be located within the proposed R3 district and shall not exceed 3 stories in height. Applicant wishes to amend that condition. Condition 5 through 11 stay the same. So here's what the applicant was requesting to change. Condition number 1 is keeping the same language, but simply add Amos Road as requiring frontage. Staff is okay with that condition being amended to add that. Condition number 4, the area in red is what's being added. The 2 buildings proposed for memory care, assisted living, and active adult uses shall be located within the proposed R3 district and shall not exceed 3 stories in height and 50 feet in height as per approved by the Hamilton County Board of Zoning Appeals on 9/25/24. There's the case number where that was acted on by the Hamilton County Board of Zoning Appeals. And that was a special permit for a high-rise multifamily office or a motel and structure in the county zoning code, because the current zone only allows 2.5 stories to 35 feet in the R3 district. Here's a view of the site. Again, it's surrounded by single-family, agriculture uses, medical office, and vacant land, and institutional. There is some floodway associated with this property. Here's a site from Amos. This is a view of the site from Amos Road. This is Amos Road itself. View of the site from Snow Hill Road. This is a view of the site from Snow Hill Road. And then this is south of the site and the west of the site, the southeast of the site here. And west of the site, single-family dwellings. This is in the Wolf Beaver Creek area plan, which recommends very low-intensity residential. Again, the plan is not going to speak to specifically lifting conditions, but it's still an adopted plan. This plan is, and again, it recommends very low-intensity residential. Here's a circle where the area was rezoned last year. Here's the site plan submitted with the request. Plan Hamilton, which is currently in a draft form, has not been adopted, recommends suburban residential place type for this site. The place type does not speak to the height. The suburban residential place type has a predominantly low intensity, single family detached residential development pattern, especially within the same block. It goes on to say, when next to lower density residential development, this moderate intensity infill development maintains the existing rhythm and feel of the street. Factors that play into rhythm are such things as setback, lot width, building massing, and height. There are no other 2-story buildings near this site. Again, the county commission originally approved the rezoning request with the condition of 3 stories. Staff agrees that this building height maximum is more appropriate for the rural area that's found in this location. Staff recommends to approve the amendment to condition number 1, adding Amos Road, but to deny amending the condition to allow the construction of a 50-foot tall building at this location. So staff recommends to deny the applicant's request and approve other.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Any questions? All right, Mr. Price.
Thank you. So this request comes back before this body due to the fact that there are several changes as it relates to the overall plan. But let me first state that the overall plan has essentially remained unchanged as it relates to the plan and use of the property. I would further point out that the buffering that is being proposed exceeds Plan Hamilton. So as you're looking at reconsidering this once again before you, just keep in mind that there are just subtle changes. Let me describe what those are. First, the PUD area is being reduced from 81.55 acres to 77.34. The reason is that we have some land swaps that we are working with an adjoining property owner to achieve the right-of-way dedication that is being requested. And secondly, we have property that will be deeded and sold, maybe not sold is the proper word, but given to the WWTA to address some of their infrastructure issues. I know infrastructure has been an issue that has been discussed in this body at multiple occasions. This is our attempt at looking at addressing those infrastructure needs. So their property that was taken away from the original development pattern, properties proper. And so now that will be going to WWTA. So we've taken that out. The R1 zone areas proposed to be reduced from 70.75 to 69.04. However, we're increasing the number of single-family homes. The density stays the same. We're still going to remain the same number of units at 447. The density does slightly increase, but that is only due to the fact that we're taking land and no longer including that in the PUD because that's land that goes to the WWTA and goes to our neighbor. So it slightly increases from 5.48 units per acre to 5.78. The total number of single-family homes proposed to be increased goes from 161 to 194. The total number of attached units is proposed to decrease from 104 to 75. The 30-unit active adult 55 plus 3-story building is proposed to be removed from the plan. So now we're just going to have one building, not two buildings that are 3 stories. So that's basically the change as it relates to the plan. Now, the reason that we put the 50-foot into there was basically just to codify what the variance board had already granted us. So we thought since the variance board had already granted us the 50-foot height maximum ability to construct to on site with certain requirements, that we would just put that as part of the zoning. It seemed to make logical sense to me. But again, it's not a big deal to us if staff does not want to have that in there, because we've already been granted it by the variance board. So we have it by right. So it's there. We just thought it would make sense to just add it in there as a condition. So with that, that's basically the plan. So we think that this is an improvement. It's refined. It addresses the same infrastructure concerns. It addresses all the road improvements. All that stays the same, other than just slightly adjusting some of the numbers. But if you look at the type of density, the type of use that are being proposed, it's actually going to be less densified, if you will, in terms of the type uses and what was there before. If there's any questions, happy to answer those.
Any questions for Mr. Price? All right, thank you.
Kim Hill, 8618 Snow Hill Road. And I would just agree. I think this site plan has changed immensely, and it doesn't meet our multi-year plan. I did ask for some questions to be answered, never received answers to all of them. So the plan that was approved was a lot different than this plan that was submitted. Also, what was left out was the R3 zone has a density of 24.65 per acre, which exceeds the max density of 24 per acre allowed. The C5 zone still does not meet the parameters to be located so as to primarily serve traffic on arterial and collector streets, and all businesses developed within such districts shall be situated on site so as to offer convenient ingress and egress to such streets. Snow Hill Road is over probably 800 feet away, and Amos Road is only a local road. The entrance on Amos Road is in a different area than it was previously. 2 buildings have been combined into one large building, and the building is located closer to Snow Hill Road. When the rezoning was approved, the county commission placed a height limit of 3 stories on both of the buildings. Looking at zoning regulations, the max height for buildings is 2.5 stories or 35 feet. So based on those parameters, 3 stories would be 42 feet. After the rezoning was approved, a request was made to the Board of Zoning Appeals for a 50-foot height increase. In that meeting, assumptions were made about the height of the assisted living facility at the corner of Snow Hill Road and Mountain View Road. The assumption was it was 50 feet, but that building received an approval from the Board of Zoning Appeals for a height of 3 stories or 42 feet contingent on the rezoning request approval. So they did that before the rezoning request was approved. And the Accounting Commission approved that rezoning with a max condition of 3 stories, so at 42 feet. But for this development, a max condition was placed on the 2 buildings by the County Commission. So how does the Board of Zoning Appeals have the authority to override or even clarify a condition placed by the County Commission? If that's the case, then we would not be here today. We would be at the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting to, just amend these conditions that he's asking to be amended. But this condition was placed on the site and on the 2 buildings by the County Commission, 3 stories in height. The open space was centrally located. Now it is mainly strips of lands at the ends of sections of homes. You have the previous site plan and the new site plan. In the previous site plan, you can see that the open space was centrally located within the homes and townhomes. It's more centrally located. You had several of them. Now there's just strips of land at the ends of sections of homes next to roads in the subdivision. The vast majority of the open space is still in the floodplain. The amount of assisted living units went from 40 to 68. So the information in the assisted care living facility permit is no longer valid. A new application should be submitted for that as well. Most of the required information for the permit has changed, including the size, location, and use of all the buildings, parking and loading facilities, points of ingress and egress, number of residents, number of employees, visitors, and/or volunteers who may reasonably be expected at any one time. All of those parameters changed from when they got this special permit approved. You just approved or recommended approval for a rehab facility on Mountain View Road. And that had a condition of 2.5 stories or 35 feet. This building will be back behind that on a local road, and it will be 50 feet. So that's higher than what's on the main Mountain View Road. It'll be higher than any of the buildings on the main Mountain View Road or on Snow Hill Road in the commercial section. So we would ask you to deny this new site plan. It's not what the community was presented to begin with. There's a lot of changes being made for just taking a small strip of 15-foot wide land there next to the two homes in order to widen Amos Road. And then the section down there with the WWTA, that wasn't going to be developed anyway. Maybe a slight corner of the stormwater pond was going to be on there, and that's all. So it doesn't seem like just changing and, giving that land, that little bit of land, shouldn't change the site plan this much. This is a big change. Thank you.
Mr. Price.
Unfortunately, Ms. Helton has conflated a lot of different topics: zoning, zoning process, the zoning board, and the plan. We are completely and follow the process all the way through. We are still limited to 3-story buildings. There's nothing different from when it went through the first go around to this go around. We're still 3 stories. So at the end of the day, this is a revised plan, more single family residential, less assisted living, less duplex townhomes. Same other buffer requirements, same road improvements being done. I don't see a reason why this is any different. Matter of fact, I would say it's better than what had been submitted the first go around. As are many plans that are large and complicated, once you get into further the details, you can improve the plan. I think that accomplishes this. If there's any questions, happy to answer those.
Brian, could you go back over the staff recommendations one more time, please?
No, I didn't hit item 7 and 8. The one I went through was just strictly lifting the conditions, so that's what we do later on. But staff recommendation in case 107 was the plan doesn't mention height requirements, but it does say about rhythm, protecting the rhythm of suburban residential. And that's done through height and massing and setbacks and lot width. Staff felt that 3 stories or 2.5 stories, 35 feet is more appropriate this location and recommended deny adding the 50-foot story building to that condition, but we're okay with adding Amos Road to condition 1. All of the conditions will carry forward.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to move forward with staff recommendations.
We have a motion to approve the staff recommendations. It has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. In regards to case 2025-0106, I don't know that, I feel like opposition's covered everything there. Did you want to say anything in regards to that? The conditions that are there, you're fine with?
Fine with those.
What's the will of the commission? Okay. We have a motion to approve with conditions. Mr. Genoway?
I just want to be real clear what we're doing. Can you?
Sure. On this case here, this is shifting, probably see it on the screen. We're shifting some zones around, making the R1 a little bit larger, moving where the C5 is located at, and reducing a lot of the R3 to the north here. We'll go to R1. And this bottom sliver down here, we'll go from R3 to A1. And those conditions that y'all just acted on will carry over to all this property except this little A1 portion.
The only thing I would point out is that there's a typo, and I'm fine if you want to give it to me, but I doubt you do. You got 477 units. I think you really want 447.
Yeah, it's whatever your application will be, not what's on that.
Yeah.
Thanks for pointing out.
So it's the exact same number of units. We're decreasing the multifamily units and increasing the single family units.
Correct.
We have a motion to approve. I need a second, if that's the will of the commission. We have a motion to approve with conditions, and it has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And then case 2025-0108. We have a staff recommendation to approve. What's the will of the commission?
Second.
We have a motion to approve, and it has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Case 2025-0109. We have a staff recommendation to approve with conditions a rezoning request from RN3 to CC Commercial Corridor Zone at an unaddressed block of 1000 Lupton Drive. Is there any opposition present?
Move to approve with conditions.
We have a motion to approve with conditions, and it has been seconded. Is the applicant present? Are you good with the conditions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is it's a mandatory referral. It's case 2025-0110. And this is for an unopened 200 block of Holly Hill Road. And it's a public right-of-way abandonment enclosure, and staff has recommended to deny the applicant's request. Is there any opposition present? You're here in opposition? And is the applicant present? All right. Mr. Schultz.
Sure, this unopened right-of-way is actually located in the town of Lookout Mountain. Here's the right-of-way in question. This is single-family dwellings abutting this property. Comes off Park Lane into this home. Looks like a driveway, basically. You'll see an aerial view here in a minute. Everything abutting this property is single-unit residential. Here's some of the adjacent properties. You can see they all have frontage on other roads, so it would not landlock anybody if the road was closed at this location. Here's the existing house, and I believe from what we can tell, this turnaround here is what the applicant's wishing to be abandoned. It's this turnaround plus going to the right. Another view of the site. Here's the aerial, the site plan, what the applicant wishes to close. Again, it's just the area in purple. You see this comes down, then here's the turnaround, and then it goes down to the driveway to this home. The right-of-way provides existing and potential service or access. The right-of-way does provide a safe turnaround for vehicles without needing to back out onto private property. Then closing the right-of-way would not landlock any property. The really biggest thing around is about the turnaround. You have that at the very end, so cars can turn around if they had to without having to back out. So staff recommended to deny this request. This will go on to the town of Lookout Mountain for their action.
Thank you. Hey, does the town of Lookout Mountain review these applications?
We've seen them, reached out to them several times. I never received any comments. I did talk to the applicant. The applicant has been in contact with the town of Lookout Mountain. I believe he can speak probably to that. Yes.
Hey, Ben Skidmore, Kinley Horn. Just going to highlight a couple things, reiterating some of what Brian said, and then adding a few bits of detail. Abandoning this portion of right-of-way does not landlock any of the other properties. It was noted in the staff report as partial improvements. The only improvements within the Holly Hill right-of-way is a sewer line, which would be accommodated with an easement, and individually accessed driveways. So the property at 250 North Watauga does have a driveway, but it only accesses that single home. And so there's no shared access or other dual access points anywhere along Holly Hill. The other two sort of parallel drives are Maple and Sumac. Sumac, it appears, has actually already had an abandonment at the end of it. And Maple similarly has a very significant private access wall, monumentation, portal within the right-of-way. And in terms of service, the existing area does not provide any benefit to service trash trucks today back down Park Lane because there's not adequate room. I don't know if you can go back to that image. It is a little bit wider than a standard driveway, but certainly not enough for a trash vehicle to turn around. If you were to put a cul-de-sac at the end of that drive, it would encroach significantly into the other two properties. And so our request is to allow for the abandonment. It would allow what's functioning as a private driveway today to be improved or adapted for that property in view right there. I'll save the rest of our time. Thanks.
Ben, I do have a question for you. So in the city, when right of way is abandoned, can you go back to the right of way picture? When right of way is abandoned, it's split across the two property owners that would be on one side and the other. Would that be the case in Lookout Mountain as well?
Yeah, so on this portion, it's the right of way. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, I mean, the part that accesses is just a continuation of Park Lane. We could opt to do a portion down the middle. I think we actually had conversations with that neighboring property and they were not interested in having that half. So the property owner to the sort of southwest, that would be the one that would be split. The other portion of the frontage is only the alignment of Park Lane.
Sure.
So there's no adjacent user.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? All right, we'll hear from opposition, then you'll have an opportunity to respond.
Good afternoon. My name is Daniel Hartman. I own the property to the northeast, which is labeled on this map as 308. Speaking to some of the nuisance of this whole process, we were for about 70 years addressed as 300 North Watauga Lane until about February this year when our address spontaneously changed. That's what kind of alerted us that something was going on. Mr. Martin, who owns the property that's highlighted on this map, approached us to seek a variance in writing to allow him to subdivide his lot in order to provide himself with two lots. He expressed in writing to me that his intention was to sell the lot that bordered Watauga. As far as I know, and speaking with the town of Lookout Mountain, a lot must have half an acre in order to be conforming. And so for that reason, we did not sign his variance. So I just wanted to express a couple of things I think that maybe aren't clear. Our property there labeled as 308 actually has two deeded lots as well. We currently use the easement or the abandoned roadway there to access Park Lane on a nearly daily basis to take trips to Sunset Rock. If that were to be closed and we would no longer have legal access there, we would then have to walk 3/4 of a mile further to access Sunset Rock. In addition, I've lived there since 2019 and I've now known 3 people to own the house where Mr. Martin lives now. I think the roadway is pretty visible on that map, but it is pretty frequently used by school children. It's also used as a way to school. And one of the previous homeowners actually expressed to me the joy in which she found from the children traversing the trail that is there. So my big concern is that our second deeded lot that's at the backside of our property towards the northwest touches that corner, and it would then be not fully landlocked, but it would deny us access. What this map doesn't show is the topography of this area. My driveway comes from Watauga and it's a 20% grade hill. Very recently, we went to leave the driveway, and because of the nature of our road, we couldn't see the street below, and only did we find when we drove down there that we were locked in by a tree that had fallen. It's been a desire of ours for some time to bring a driveway through to Park Lane so that we wouldn't be locked in the event of a fallen tree. That's all I've got. Thank you guys for considering and hearing my grievances.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, Mr. Skidmore.
The topography piece that was spoken to, you can kind of see roughly from this image. There's a significant drop off. I don't know if Brian, if you can flip back to where the start of there, you can kind of see it. And so I'm not sure about the vehicular connection component that was described or used regularly, but there's currently a wall basically that comes through and around into the property. So there's no access today. If there was desire to be some form of access, I'm sure there's some provisions that could be made, but from a topo perspective, getting back up to Park Lane is topographically infeasible. No other comments based on what was said.
Mr. Lau.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think to your question earlier, I was looking at this exhibit and, like you had mentioned in the city, that right then gets divvied out, along the property lines to the adjacent property owners. Brian, in this instance, we have those two property lines coming together at an intersection. So what would happen in?
That's an interesting question. I don't know. That is an odd shape. I definitely see it here on this southwest corner where it would go. I'd imagine over here that whatever their attorney would advise them, it may go to these two adjoining property owners. I'm not sure that it being a odd shaped piece of property like that.
Ben, can you
Go
come
back
back
some
up?
title research.
I can see the issue, but what's the reason for the request? I mean, what's prompting the need for this to be addressed? I mean, it looks like the house is probably 80 years old or older, and whoever's owned it for some number of years, I'm assuming. What's prompted the need for this abandonment request?
The desire is to be able to improve the driveway and improvements, things like walls and monumentation, similar to Maple, which is one block over. So those were the requests that were made to us.
The resident there at 8 Parker Lane wants to make improvements, is that right?
Correct. Yeah, to have the ability to do so without going through improvements in public right of way. The existing wall was already in place, but even going back to do something like that within the right of way today would be a challenge. Same thing with monumentation and signage. We have a few additional photos, if helpful, that shows the extent of the existing driveway today that extends out past beyond the right of way, and where it terminates into the asphalt where service vehicles currently stop. This location does not have like the significant monumentation like is at Maple and more clearly defines private versus public, but is at the same kind of demising line on the other side of unimproved Holly Hill.
Can you think of any way to address the neighbors' concerns in regards to access and the loss of future potential access? And some of that kind of stuff.
Clarify the access? Is it for pedestrians walking, or you had mentioned a path that's vehicular, but I think what you really were describing was a pedestrian path that goes through the neighbor's property. You mentioned there's access today at Park Lane. I'm not aware of where it is. Yes, sir.
No, it's just this is the other guy in the hat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Other hat.
Same short, same.
No worries. Yeah, at the moment, it's pedestrian access. But I can speak to the actual intention for the desire to close this property. He's about 800 square feet short of having enough property to properly subdivide his land. When we purchased our house in 2019, that was one of our specific concerns, and we actually sought an answer from the town before we purchased our property as to whether or not a house could ever be built down.
I hear you, and
Yes,
I heard
sir.
that earlier. I just wanted to hear if there was a specific way for the access to be addressed.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Well, as far as bringing a driveway through to Park Lane, there's really no other direction to go. As he mentioned, that the monument at the end of Maple would prohibit that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I think it's unusual. I think we all think it's unusual just to abandon the property for a property owner to make an improvement. This wouldn't typically have, I don't think this would fly in most cities just to give the property to the property owner for their improvements. I think there may be other alternatives by working with the town of Signal Mountain, but I do not, I'm sorry, town of Lookout Mountain. Thank you, sir. But I just don't think this is the right way to stage it, whether you're trying to make an improvement. It's a public road, it's public property right now. And I think regardless of the history of the right of way and what the future of the right of way might be, it's difficult to support giving a property owner that right of way or without just to make an improvement. I can motion to deny.
We have a motion to deny and it has been seconded. Any discussion? Ben, I would just say, potentially looking at it and looking at a smaller reduction in right-of-way abandonment might be a solution. I don't know how staff would recommend on that. I don't know how planning commission would recommend on that. But, it's possible that if it were a 15 or 20-foot right-of-way abandonment so that some portion of that driveway, because I can see where it's really problematic that there's a big portion of, where they're parking their cars is in a right of way, where they're turning around is in a right of way. I could see where it's problematic and it was certainly built a long time ago. It may be that a smaller abandonment or addressing the neighbors' concerns through, private access easements or those sorts of things might garner support from the neighbors and maybe give another go at it because I suspect this motion will carry. Yes, Mr. Lau.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To that point, yeah, I'm assuming this will, like most of our cases, then go from here to Lookout.
Sure,
with the
it does.
recommendation from this body. So there may be opportunity between here and there to try to work some of those issues out. If it then gets heard by Lookout, if there's a reduction in that could be amenable to all parties, that would make that work, just as a thought.
Yeah. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 11 on our agenda is case 2025-0111, and this is located at 4905 and 4907 Pattontown Road, and staff is recommended to approve with conditions a request to lift conditions from ordinance 13935. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? Mr. Schultz.
Yeah, this is case 2025-111. This request is to lift condition number 1 from ordinance number 13935. Proposed use is now single unit detached residential. This is rezoned. The use proposed is multifamily. It's roughly 12 acres in size. Number of units proposed is 55. That's a density of 4.4 dwelling units per acre. Again, this was rezoned from R1 to R3 in 2022. Had one condition: no residential development within the first 150 feet from the parcel line abutting Pattontown Road. It was to force the apartments back off Pattontown Road, so sort of provide some visibility and buffering from Pattontown. So the applicant, again, at that time was going to do multifamily. Now it's changed to single family and wishes to remove that condition. You can see everything abutting this is single unit residential. You do have some commercial and vacant land abutting this property. Here's a view of the site. North of the site, east of the site, south. And this is southeast of the site, commercial store. This is Pattontown Road. This is in the White Oak Mountain Plan, which adopted in 2019, recommends suburban residential, which is primarily single-family attached dwellings. Closer view of that place type, you can see it's suburban residential. Here's the site plan submitted with the request. The area in red, the dashed line, is where that 150-foot buffer comes into play. If that buffer remains, you see they're losing the ability to have 3 more additional lots. By removing that condition, you can have 3 additional lots in this development. The request was, with conditions, is compatible with Area 12 plan. It is compatible with adjacent land uses as it's switching from multifamily to single family. Staff recommends to approve lifting the condition, but also adding a new condition, because it is zoned R3, to add a condition that single unit detached residential and ADU units are allowed only. So staff recommends to approve lifting that buffer condition or setback condition, if you will, but add a new condition of uses only.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Mr. Farmer.
Yes, Jason Farmer, Riverstone Construction, 6005 Century X Drive. This is a family that's long time held this site and worked with in this area. We've had a really good relationship in working with them. It was townhouses originally, is my understanding, and that's why the setback was there. Clearly, we're doing single family and have just asked to remove that condition. We have no problem whatsoever with the staff's additional condition that it just be limited to single family.
We do have a motion and a second, and we have somebody here in opposition, so we want to hear from them.
Good afternoon. My name is Theodore McGee, and I've been living in that area off and on about 40 years. And the city had dump trucks running up and down the street and everything. In the last 10 years, they annexed our property, everything over there. So when they annexed our property, I tried to get mine de-annexed. I got about maybe 10 or 12 acres over there. And when they annexed us, I went to the city and tried to get it de-annexed. So they played a little game or whatever, and they said, well, we'll work with you, because when they annex us, they annex everything from Absent Pike up to Patton Town Road to that little trading place right there. Then on everything on the left side of Woodland Drive, they annexed it, going all the way back toward, I think it stopped right there at Bill Reed Road. So since I've been there, they haven't did anything. They haven't widened the streets up. When I was a little kid, I almost got hit by a dump truck. I'm out there weeding my grass now. I'm almost getting hit by a dump truck because people coming in and out, moving dirt and everything. So my thing is, he's in the county, because you got where they purchased that property, it's in the county. So everything from that gas line that goes down is in the city. So what happened is they would not widen the streets up there. My brother almost got hit by a car. They knocked over a mailbox and everything. So they get ready to put in 40 units on the county side of that property line. Where the cars gonna go? I mean, that's my thing. I have no problem doing it, but my thing about it is we haven't got anything out the deal. When they annex us, I'm paying city taxes and everything. Then I got other properties back there on the Absent Pike side. My address was 4927 Patton Town Road, and I just found out it was changed to 4927 Absent Pike. So everything on Absent Pike, they brought it all the way up through the woods and everything, going up through there. So it's in the, got an Absent Pike address instead of Patton Town Road address. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is I don't have no problem doing that, but they have to widen them streets up, and they have to bring the sewage up there. Because if he putting 40 units, where you can't put 40 units on no subject tank. So I think what they planning on doing is coming off Absent Pike and running the sewage line through the woods and connecting there, versus come on up Patton Town Road, which is only like another 2 blocks from Absent Pike. They can come up through Patton Town Road, run the sewage up through there, and everybody in the neighborhood will be happy, because they really didn't understand what was going on, because the sign they put in the yard, they put in another person's yard. So I didn't know about it till I got a letter in the mail the other day, last week, about this thing. But my thing is, initially I thought that they was coming off Absent Pike and they was gonna build the units there. But now they want to come off Patton Town and use that little piece of property right on the right and come through there and then go to the other property, but the houses they gonna build. So I oppose to that, because like I say, it's no street lights up there, and everything is coming that way because of Ooltewah. So what people are doing now is they coming from Bill Reed Road off of Ooltewah Ringo Road, and they coming up Woodland Drive, and they hitting Patton Town and making a left on Absent Pike. So sometimes I can't even back out my driveway. So it's so bad. So my thing is, I think what they need to do is get the city involved. Get them to widen that streets up, because you're talking about putting 50 units, that's over 100 cars gonna be coming through there. And where the kids gonna play at? I mean, a bunch of woods in there. So my thing about it, if they gonna end up going to school to East Hamilton or Ooltewah, the bus is still having problems going up and down the street because the city haven't did anything. So I think if the city will come in and say, hey, let's widen the streets up and get your sewage up through there, I have no problem. But if they don't widen the streets up, it's gonna be chaos. I done had my mailbox knocked down about 10 times on Pattontown Road, and the pole was knocked down. So it's just it's just claustrophobic coming through there. You know, you can't get 2 cars down through there. There's no sidewalks. Everybody is coming. They just built 3 units, apartments on Absent Pike, and then they just finished one on Lee Highway. So all the traffic is coming up down Pattontown Road. My neighbors, they elderly people, they barely can pay their taxes and stuff. So what they doing now is, like one of my neighbors said, I said, you gonna come to this meeting? She said, no, I'm not going to the meeting. I said, why not? I said, they went up on your property taxes this year. She said, yeah, they went up on my property tax. I said, how they go up on your property taxes when your property value haven't went up? But the city and county going up on their property tax. She said, well, I qualify for, that people pay for my property taxes. I think some governor or some thing they got. So I asked her, I said, well, what happened if you die? If you die, then your kids gonna have to pay the half of the property tax, so they might not be able to afford it. So it's just the same thing, I have no problem with them building that, doing that. But my thing about it is, what we getting out of it? They gonna be in the county. Water one-off taxes on me. I'm not getting anything out of it. So if they gonna get the city to widen up the road, do the right thing, bring the sewage up through there like they plan on doing in the last 14 years. I've been trying to get the city to come in and say, hey, we need these streets widened, we need the sewage up through here, but they going all the way around us. They done put the sewage on Green Shanty, Ooltewah. It comes down through Absent Pike Lee Highway, and that smells so terrible down through there because everybody getting the sewage except us. No sidewalks, no street lights. I'm telling you, you go up through there, and cars are constantly coming down through there. So if they put another 50 units up there, 50 single-family houses, it's gonna be chaos right there. So I would hope we can get something together where we can come in and get the city on this part so they can come up and widen the roads and stuff like that, because it's gonna be chaos.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Spurs?
Yep, I just have a question. Brian, was this, this development was already approved? It was just
Yes, it was already approved.
just the
R3.
modification is the only thing we're talking about today?
It's just changing condition. We're not rezoning. And this property is, just to clarify, it is located in the city of Chattanooga.
Okay. And are there any plans for Pattontown Road that you know of? I know that's
I'm
not your
aware.
area of
I'm not aware
expertise, but
I'm not aware. I mean, maybe.
they're not. Okay.
Well,
All right.
the thing about it is, they was planning, but they planning up when it was approved, it was coming off Absent Pike. Now, since they.
Sir, if I could just interrupt you, and I'm sorry for this, but you have a city council representative, who's District 6? Okay. She's right here. So
I think I talked to your mothers a couple of years ago.
Okay, so my point is that Planning Commission does not widen roads. We don't approve or control where sewers go. This really comes down to, the work of your city council people, and the mayor's office ultimately is responsible for doing this work. What we're here today to do is to make a minor change to the current request. We hear your grievance.
Yeah.
We're not saying it's not valid. We hear them every single second Monday of the month for about 4 hours, because there's a lot of the city and county that's frustrated with the same things you are. And so this commission does not make light of them. We hear them, but ultimately I think it's up to city council, not county not the planning commission.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to oppose it, so we can get to that level, because my understanding was they was coming off absent pay.
Hey, sir?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you'll stay till after the meeting, I'll get your contact information and we can talk outside of the meeting. Thank you for your comments.
We have a motion to approve, and it was properly seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Payne?
No. Oh, I'm sorry. I had that. I was just going to I didn't see him sitting there. And I know him very well. I'm sorry that I ignored him a minute ago. So.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 12 on our agenda is case 2025-0112, and it is an application to rezone from RN16 to RN-3. Staff is recommended to approve with conditions, and it's located at 1721, 1723, 1725, and 1735 Joyner Road. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? And in regards to the conditions, what's the will of the commission? We have a motion to approve with conditions. That's all we got. We just got a motion to approve with conditions. Okay, there's a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. On our agenda, we have government mandatory referrals. We have the first one here is case 2025-0113. It's located in the 1600 block of East 3rd Street. It's got a staff recommendation to approve. Is there any opposition present? What's the will of the commission?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve, and it has been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We have a resolution and amendments. We have a resolution to amend the Hamilton County subdivision regulations to amend Article 4, subdivision design standards, Section 401, streets to modify street width and pavement cross-section requirements. Is there any opposition present? Mr. Schultz, what is this?
Sure, I'll actually defer to Nathan. Nathan
Yeah, I
can
can
speak better than I can.
I can speak to
Yes.
this. So we went through about a 4-month process with the Home Builders Association talking about the need to establish new fees in order to pay for the staff time it was taking to inspect and ensure that new roadways that were adopted into the county met specifications. Through that discussion, we had a very good conversation about the fact that 26-foot wide roads are not necessary in every single small cul-de-sac neighborhood in the county, and that we needed to be a little bit more flexible about the cross-section of the road itself and how that's designed. Right now, we require 8 inches of rock and 2 inches of asphalt. And there's some engineering standards that would tell you that if you're building on bedrock, you probably don't need that much gravel. So we had a really good discussion about it. This is what came out of it. We established the fees back a couple months ago. They went into effect July 1st. And this is just following up on our end to add those modifications to the subdivision regulations.
Thank you, Mr. Genoway. Any discussion? Entertain a motion. We have a motion to approve, and it has been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I might, just wanted to make a quick comment, if I could. First, wanted to thank Mr. Genoway for working with really for the community to try to find ways to keep housing costs down. I think we got to try to do that in any kind of facet that we can. So thank you to you and to Mayor Wamp for y'all's efforts on that. And I hope that we can continue to find other avenues to do this type of thing in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Any opposed? Motion carries. Any staff updates?
No, I don't have any.
We do have a time on the agenda for public comment on non-agenda items. Is there any? Yes, sir.
Excuse me. My name is Noah Johnston. I live at 666 Charbel Street in Hickson. I would like some clarity on a couple things, if I may. So obviously, we're in the midst of a moratorium on plats. It seemed to me that there were plats today under new business that were approved by this body. I read in a Chattanooga Times report by Ellen Gerst today titled East Brainerd Hotel on Planning Agenda that there was a statement made by County Development Director Nathan Janeway that said that you'll still be able to act on plats on Monday's agenda because they were submitted before the moratorium. The moratorium will only apply to completely new applications. When I look at the resolution for the moratorium, there's no such distinction made. So may I start by first asking Mr. Janeway where that particular discrepancy is derived from?
I will say, now's the time for public comment. You're welcome to make any comment, but nobody on Planning Commission is obligated to answer any of your questions. So this is not an opportunity for questions and answers. So we're here to hear any comments. You're welcome to make them. But if Mr. Genoway feels inclined to answer, he's certainly welcome to. But that isn't what this is. This isn't questions and answers with Planning Commission.
I understand, but if
Okay.
he is inclined to, I'm interested to hear what he
I
has
would be
to
happy
say.
to answer your question. I think what I'd prefer is, I'm sure you've got other questions. If you want to go through all your questions, I'll be happy to address whatever ones I need to address at the end of your comments.
Okay, so then I'll just continue with the comments about that. Let me find where it says here. Now therefore be it resolved that following the public hearing and passage of this resolution, a temporary moratorium on the approval of new plats in the unincorporated areas of Hamilton County will commence on July 2nd and is hereby imposed for a period of 30 days. During the moratorium period, no plats shall be accepted by the Regional Planning Agency or approved by the Regional Planning Commission or any other entity with authority over plat approvals in unincorporated Hamilton County. This was, I think, kind of confusing to a lot of people who were at that commission meeting, including Mr. Brian Schultz, who got up and said, and I quote, "Well, I want to clarify the resolution, so we're saying no, because my staff does the plats for the Planning Commission of Hamilton County. This takes effect July 2nd. We have plats on the agenda for July 14th. Does that mean that those don't move forward, even though they were submitted back in April? Do those apply on July 14th? No new plats." Commissioner Eversole says to Commissioner Baker, "Can you answer his question? It's your resolution." Commissioner Baker says, "It's effective July 2nd. Mr. Schultz says, "Okay." And then following that, Commissioner Chauncey says, "Brian, do you have any idea how many plats you had on next month's agenda?" Brian Schultz says, "We have probably 15. Some of them are final plats, some are preliminary plats. There's probably 5 in the city." Commissioner Chauncey addressing Commissioner Baker says, "We just passed this and you had no idea what you were doing. You didn't even look at the plats that were up for approval. You didn't even, it's just an overreach of government and I'm just tired of it. When's it going to stop?" So I guess my comment is that it was clearly implied in that commissioner meeting that the moratorium would apply to the preliminary plats and even the final plats that were approved today. And so I'm just here as a citizen who's trying to keep up with all this and be aware and, you know, try to be more involved. And it seems to me that, number one, the moratorium's a bit too ambiguous in saying new plats. And so I think on principle, I wish there was a way that this could be clarified by someone on this board today. But it seems to me that approval of any preliminary plats or final plats today that were listed under new business were not actually allowed to be approved today due to the moratorium. So I'm just bringing that to everybody's attention. And I guess my next step will be to reach out to my commissioner, Ken Smith, to get further information about it and figure out what all these discrepancies are. But it seems to me that this body and the body of unincorporated county commissioners are clearly not on the same page about that. And I think that that's very concerning. So thank you for your time.
Chairman, I can answer the question. Obviously, that resolution was brought, it was brought up the day of the vote. And so I think there was some ambiguity in the moment of exactly what they were asking for. And Karen Rennick convened a meeting where we discussed it. We reached out to the new county attorney. The new county attorney reached out to commissioners and clarified what the intent was. And if you read in the resolution, it says new plats. So two things with that. One is that state law says if we accept an application, it has to be acted on within 60 days. And if it's not, it's automatically approved. And so the ones that were on the agenda today the applications had already been accepted. So if we did nothing on those, they would automatically get approved after 60 days. So it was the county attorney's legal opinion, and after clarifying conversations with county commissioners, that the intent was to not accept any new applications. And so that is what RPA is acting under, is that they're not accepting any new applications for that 30-day period. So the ones that were already on the agenda, again, just to reiterate, if we had not acted on them today, after 60 days, they'd be approved anyway under state law, and state law overrides anything that the county can do. So I hope that answers your question, and I'm glad to stay afterwards and talk to you about it if that's helpful.
Mr. Chair, we also have a memo where it's kind of in greater detail about all the possible plating options, when and where. And there's Brian developed a memo just to be clear on exactly what Nathan spoke about. And that's on our website too. That might be helpful also.
And we as staff also emailed all the surveyors, let them know. So it's anything submitted up until July 2nd. After July 2nd, we can't accept it in the unincorporated areas of the county. So if you submitted plats up until July 2nd, we still have the board to move forward with those. So you'll see in August, we'll have subdivision plats before this body. They were submitted before July 2nd. So July 2nd was the key.
All right. Can I get approval of the planning commission minutes of June 9th, 2025? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Payne, thank you.
Brian, how the hell do you open this door?